it's a big question. And I mean, Fnatic has never missed Worlds. But one thing that I've noticed has nothing to do with Fnatic is that our sofa is a lot softer today.
Okay.
And I'm very happy about that because I think that might cushion the blow when I fall for Odamne's propaganda again. So Odo, please tell me, how is Fnatic going to win Worlds?
How they're going to win Worlds?
Make Worlds, sorry.
Okay, make Worlds. Well, all of a sudden, they've been doing a lot of crazy stuff. Soboro, great import. He's finally holding his own. He's an absolute pressure point, makes life a lot easier for Upset. Razork limited the int a little bit more. Every time he goes somewhere, there's only good decisions to make, because before, Razork's biggest problem was the fact that how does he make the best decision? And he was sometimes inting because he was just making the wrong decision. But now, when every single one of your lanes makes a good play for you, it puts a good decision on the table for you, all you have to do is take it. Do you want me to go more, Finn?
Yeah, I need more.
Thank you. My blow is cushioned.
Well, I guess
that was some good propaganda, though. Nice. I mean, I love to see at least you representing, making sure that someone is believing that Fnatic is going to make it to Worlds, because they need to go for MKOI.
Hey.
MKOI is looking a lot better now in the bounce back. They're playing later today, actually.
They are playing SK game.
I'm very excited for that. But first, we have Fnatic against Shifters, and I think they need to win today.
It's true.
Fnatic needs to beat Shifters today if they are to make a convincing run.
You know what's the most Fnatic thing that can happen today?
Yes.
Is also lose to Shifters as
Yeah.
well.
That's true. You mentioned Soboro there. Soboro versus Rooster is low-key a matchup, or high-key, a matchup that I am super hyped for. Soboro is honestly the shining light for me in any of these Shifters games. Oh, sorry. Rooster is the shining light for me in any of these Shifters games.
Definitely the matchup to watch today. I think Soboro has impressed me so much. Like, I played against this guy in Champions Queue many, many years ago, and I thought it was okay. Seeing him on the stage, he looks revitalized. He has so much aggression in him. I just think that's what I love about seeing Soboro play. The way he's always adamant about he wants to make a play. No matter if it's in lane, if it's 15 minutes or 50 minutes into the game, he will make sure to make himself known in the game.
That's a very important trait for a top lane, because I feel like I was personally lacking in this capability, where you need, as a top laner or as a good player in general, to lay out all the options on the table, and then it's the burden of responsibility on your teammates to say no to you. But if you're not really putting those options on the table, which he does incredibly well, and we see it time and time again on Fnatic, then that's kind of what they were missing beforehand.
Yeah, going to be a great matchup in the top lane, and no worries, Fnatic fans, because they have all the help they can get.
I used to be a world-renowned coach, now my gameplay is illegal, and I need more staff. I'm 30 CS up, I'm sacrificing my KD, and I still can't win the game. Have you ever seen your team go from the top of the world to the depths of despair? Have you ever celebrated a 2-0 so hard that you inadvertently put a curse for generations to come? Have you ever struggling finding La Formula? As a Fnatic fan, did you know you have rights? Our new and improved AI coach, Fnatic GPT, has the solution for everything. Is the enemy coach communicating with their team, making scrims 6v5? We can even the odds. Is your top laner not performing up to par, and is you're struggling to find a way out? Fnatic GPT can find a player for you. Have you lost the zeal to keep up the hate on the local subreddits? Fnatic GPT can light that one up for you absolutely free. With just one phone call and a couple of tokens, we can take care of your problems as well. So dial 0800 67 180 and get started today. That's 0800 67 180 and your dreams will come true.
That was the greatest and most uncomfortable thing I've ever seen in my entire life. Well done, Odo. The amount, beautiful use of dead air. I legitimately thought it was an editing problem when he came on screen and we had to wait 30 seconds for him to start talking. But also, why isn't he still wearing the fit, Rob?
Yeah, I know. Well, because it's my fit.
Because it's your... Bro, that fit goes hard. Credit to you. Credit to you. Credit to you. Of course, Fnatic and Shifters are playing. If you're just joining us, if you weren't here yesterday, this is the other studio. Oftentimes, we force our friends at Valorant to play over here. But this time, we've decided, hey, it's their playoffs. We'll allow them to use our big, beautiful arena. And we'll jump into the round.
We'll actually plug their second controller in for the baby brother, you know?
Yeah. We're taking care of it. We're letting him play a little Mario Kart every now and then. Fnatic versus Shifters. This is expected to be an incredibly one-sided matchup, and that was before we found out about this Fnatic GPT thing. So things are looking even more Fnatic favored. For Shifters, it has been a frustrating fall from grace for the once BDS named lineup, as we've seen them just kind of get worse and worse every split, despite some pretty positive roster changes, I would say.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like they're all reading off the same hymn book. Like, it's kind of all over the place, but it's some people going in, half them running out, nobody really solidifying on timers. So I really do hope that Rooster and the team can kind of get it together a little bit, because I think Rooster individually has been performing very well in the lane matchups. But the person that's been most surprising for me is Sheo. I think he's been the one that I look and has been kind of jumping the gun a little bit. Whereas I kind of look towards Sheo, especially when he's back on Heretics and even on BDS, as kind of the mainstay, the guy you could rely on to find those wins, but hasn't quite been the case.
Yeah, and stability was often, when we talked about the strengths of this Shifters lineup, one of the things we look to the most, right? Early dragon control, team fighting compositions. Yep. It was actually got to the point where when they were trying to crest past top 4, we said, okay, guys, you're too stable. We need you to mix it up. We need something a little bit different. But now we've lost the core identity that got them into top 4 for so many years, and we haven't really found something new to replace it. It's been difficult to watch, most certainly. But going through the bans, Vi, Jace, pretty standard early ban phase. Now Illusion hover over and immediate lock-in here. So Upset must be feeling pretty confident. Milio, naturally the next pick I think of.
Yeah, especially because Upset and Laspa have been the kind of the core duo that we think of, who are playing together in all aspects of the game throughout the entirety of it. So kind of locking in that Lucian Milio definitely fits the identity of what we've been seeing for Fnatic. I wasn't sure if they'd try and lend themselves over towards like an early Vi pick for Razor, because I do think it's been one of his best picks. But having that Jarvan still as an option, sorry, with the Vi gone, Jarvan's still an option there, so I think you can still play heavily. But the Milio actually going to be taken away here.
Okay. Now, Milio, we know, is kind of the premier pairing with Lucian ever since Nami was hit and Imperial Mandate was changed. Has always just felt much better overall. But now we'll get to see what Laspa wants to prioritize with Upset here in the bottom lane. What Shifters want to grab second pick? Aurelion Sol, can't imagine that would be the case. Instead, we're seeing the Yunara. So a bit of a mix-up in terms of the pairings. Yunara, Lulu, kind of the most common pairing we see with Yunara is the Lulu. Maybe Lucian. They're swinging, Rob. I don't know what to say. They're swapping partners.
Yeah,
They're mixing things up.
Well, we could even take one of the other pairings away, right? You could go for the Seraphine with the Lucian here still. Nami was the kind of the go-to back in the day, but with the changes to Imperial Mandate, her itemization isn't as strong, so we kind of lost a little bit of that. Still, they are going to go for it, but I thought, you know, you could still go for the Seraphine there. I think you try and take the Jarvan here for Razork as well, especially with the Vi already taken away. I think it's a solid pick, unless you do want to go for the Pantheon, have a bit more lane pressure, but with neither solo lane locked in, I think, yeah, Jarvan, best call here.
Jarvan does make a lot of sense, of course, with the ulti on Yunara. When she transcends, she can't get out. Otherwise, she can be very easily trapped in that ultimate ability. And you mentioned it so well. We'll see in game what the Nami itemization is. We're kind of just going to have to watch that one unfold. Final pick here, coming in from the side of Shifters, opting not to match jungle, instead prioritizing a mid lane Victor. No longer a flex, as we do already see the Yunara locked in, but pretty comfortable for Nuke. And I will say, earlier I mentioned, when Shifters, when things were tough in the past, scaling team fight was often what we saw from them. Drake setup, Drake control. You got Victor, you got Yunara. I see a lot of scaling.
And you can probably set up a pretty good matchup for Nuke as well, right? So you start to ban away things like the Ryze, the Syndra, just make things a little bit more uncomfortable for Vladdy in that mid lane, not be able to match that lane, the range from the Victor in that matchup with the Orianna taken away as well. So I think for Shifters, playing through that mid jungle going to be quite nice. And you still have options here, like Poppy going to be gone. I imagine that Pantheon is going to be the next one that is taken away. But you can still try and play for things like the Wukong. Nocturne, if you really want to, is open available too, but I'd be surprised if they end up taking that this late in the draft.
Yeah, Nocturne a bit tricky, especially against the Nami, right? Even if you can one-shot someone, if she throws the Tidal Wave towards the rest of your team, it's really hard for anyone else to follow up, and you don't have that immediate Shockwave combo to go with it currently. But Cassante instead going to be the ban here, so don't want a safe blind. They want information on jungle. That's what that tells me. They don't want them blind picking top. They want them to use their counter pick on top and just trying to say, hey, there's no blinds here. Please show us your jungler so we know what we're dealing with. That's my read.
Yeah, I think that's basically it. Like, the Poppy is a decent ban into both Lucian and Jarvan, trying to make their life more comfortable. I think you can still take, With Lee Sin, Wukong, I think either of them perfectly comfortable. They're just going to go with the Lee Sin for that mobility. Rumble, actually, yes, still up and available. So Sober are going to be very happy to collect that one for the top side. And I think you can still round this out with a Syndra in the mid lane. You got very strong kind of long range poke that can come through. Good engage with both the Jarvan and the Syndra able to take that space. So I think you'd be fairly happy there. This, okay.
Okay, bit of a different take here. Now, Yone Rumble Vi, Yone Rumble J4, kind of before Syndra rose to prominence again, before Syndra, got a little adjusted, got some buffs here and there. This was the premier kind of Rumble AoE pairing. It does have a lot of die pressure, more hard CC, more support there, but much weaker at a lot of stages of the game. Better side lane, but much, much weaker in those first few levels.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of where Fnatic are hoping that they can have a bit more threat on the side lanes.
Pa ljudi moji, dobar dan i dobrodošli. Tu sam bio, završavao sam doručak pre početka drafta. I dobili smo, u suštini solidan draft s obe strane, s tim da kažem, mislim da Fnatic ovde možda ima malo bolji zalet. I nekako ja iskreno verujem ako nastave ovako da igraju da imaju šanse da se vrate nazad. I ko zna, možda čak i da odu do play-offa, možda u na Worlds.
Right? It feels like it's all follow-up. It feels like it's all eyes on Sheo, on a blind monk, to really try to find these miracle engages, because Galio's so good at following up, but so hard at actually doing anything other than peeling, right, on his own. I'm nervous. I'm nervous for them. If they get ahead, if they get set up on the objectives, we've seen it so many times. Victor, Yunara, feels like you can dominate. No one's going to be able to dive into the Galio. But if you're not getting that objective set up, really easy to see how it all falls apart.
Podsjeti me, trebao sam i ovo stavim ovde.
Because it's triple melee on Fnatic, right? Like, they have to get in to try and take fights and stuff like that. And if Galio's literally just walking at you and taking space and you're backing away, I mean, shifters kind of can play for a lot of these objective fights and stuff. So I think Fnatic are kind of...
Tako, nek bude tu, nek bude pin turnira.
But we'll see, because I do agree.
Mislim da je to skroz okej.
You're in a rough L spot as shifters, because suddenly Rooster has to try and answer for this 1-3-1 push that Fnatic have set up. And that's where your Galio not often with the team in those positions.
Very, very true. Definitely consider Shea. Ooh, gets the ward. 5 gold lead.
It's over.
That's true. Fnatic GPT should have seen that one coming and warned Razork. The attack speed is terrible, but Lee Sin. Too much. Although now, Razork's running Raptors, everything calm, everything chill, I guess. Bot lane is kind of the X factor before jungles get involved. But honestly, not sure what to expect, because I think that when Lucian Nami was picked all the time, it still wasn't like level 1 crazy dominating. It was usually like first item or first base. You could start to really do a lot of damage, and I'm not sure who's actually favored here.
Yeah, I think for Piduk, definitely in the early stages, you kind of get that push alongside the Milio. And the range, the fact you have access to that Q, you should be able to get decent push. Then it kind of changes as you start to get towards those later levels, especially as upset. Basically, you're trying to play around the times when Piduk has that transcendence up. If you can find
Shifteri su 0-5, Fnatic je 2-3. Realno gledano, Fnatic ovdje ulazi kao solidan favorit. I Soboru u stvari nabada, što je također poprilično cool.
Spike that we used to traditionally see teams suddenly play around with the Lucian Nami isn't as strong. Imperial Mantic getting changed, not really having that same effect, means that now you're seeing things like the Arden Sensor being built a little bit more. And that can still give you a decent spike, but it isn't as potent as the Imperial Mantic.
No, you need a lot of autos for Arden Sensor to feel good, but now they might need to wait that long. One item, it might just be nothing, although great flash from Piduk. Hard reads the flash extension from Razork, so is able to back away, but that is 3 summoners picked up, technically in exchange for 3, but both flashes still available for the Fnatic bottom lane.
Yeah, which I think is going to be quite nice. The problem for the Lee Sin is you can't really interact with this bottom lane too much. You don't really have that setup that you want. So I think it's
Vladi će dobiti batine, ali kažem, mislim da Soboro... Mislim, čak i u ovom matchupu trebao bi da bude relativno okej. Ja mislim da je ovo početak Fnaticovog comeback arka nazad ka vrhu tabele. Mislim da ova sezona je jako dobra za to.
Fnatic do have cryo here, but they're losing priority in mid lane, so there's really nothing to be done with it. They might need to give a bit of respect. over to Sheo, who has pulled ahead a little bit in terms of early CS and might be trying to get active in mid lane. Vladdy, of course, suffering as expected in this matchup early on. I will say that Victor, similar to Orianna, one of the control mages that, can just kind of get up in his face, make it very annoying for him those first 2 levels. Although, nice crab. Take secured by Razork.
That was the 5 HP. If Sheo just hit E the second he went in, he stole that crab. That was... I don't know how Sheo didn't steal that, honestly.
Some people, born lucky. Razork, not one of them, but that one instance, very lucky.
I am shocked Sheo didn't get that. That's insane. Okay. I mean, Sheo, though, going to move back in towards his own jungle. His Krugs are going to be spawning, so he's going to clear out this topside jungle and then look for the reset, I imagine. But Rooster was forced to back early and use that teleport. Yeah, okay, so was basically seeing if there was going to be a poke forward from Sobro, but he's backing away. But yeah, this is where I'm kind of keeping my eyes on what Sheo wants to try and achieve, because he's kind of got those small timing windows that he's able to play around as the blue buff still up for Razork on that top side. So they could try and make something happen.
Definitely could. Ooh, Vladdy not able to connect in the Q3 there.
Vladdy je fajn. Ovaj matchup samo trebaš da preživiš I to je to.
After first reset this lane phase, it gets a lot easier. No boots too, though, is a bit awkward for Vladdy. Probably will want to go Mercs, but you really love that early attack speed. Double value, as it's also cooldown reduction. And it's settled into a relatively quiet early game, although Upset's doing what he can to hold on to gold lead bot, and really junglers are going to be the people that we need to keep our eyes on.
Yeah, I think Razork's in a position to gank top. The wave is frozen here for Sobro, and it's a fantastic position. Razork moving up, triple longsword. That's a lot of damage on the Jarvan.
Rooster dressed up like an eagle, but he might be falling to his grave. Razork going in. Nice punch back. Taunt into the midst of the wave. Rooster is going to be able to walk it off there. Getting the additional movement speed from the Keystone is huge.
And Rooster's not having the best of times with this top lane. So level 3 was forced to reset because he went so low. TP's back in, then kind of has that half push to get that extension on the lane to find another reset. But now has to force back as Paddock forces the flash from Lospa. Nicely done by the Shifters bot lane.
Definitely very well played. See what else they can get off of this. Not too much for now, but it does mean around level 6 we might have even more of an all-in threat from Paddock. And it does mean that Sheo, well, he might not have mid-prio, bot-prio, just in the nick of time. Not that Fnatic could really contest, so the difference in jungle starting to pay off into a tangible advantage for the side of Shifters as they now have that Drake. Of course, Razork has burned a bunch of summoner spells in the bottom lane, but those didn't turn into anything, crucially. And while he tried to force Rooster out on the top side, Rooster able to hold on to that flash.
Yeah, Razork should be able to hit 6 off this crab, though, so maybe can make some plays happen here. Is fishing around mid lane, even has Lospa here to contest on the Raptor respawn, but there's a lot of members of Shifters in the area as well.
Sheo moving up. Level 6 for Nuke, level 6 for Sheo. Q3 immediate ulti out from Nuke. Soul unbound as Vladdy just tries to live to the best of his ability. Will be forced.
Vladdy će se vratiti na batine malo. Fajn da duši, ima flash, ima ult, samo treba flasha. Sheo nije teo da uleti. Pored da sam Sheo, sam bi uleteo unutra I prelomio bi.
Yeah, a couple of whoopsies, as you say, with the Q from Stend. Not making that particularly easy. So Vladdy managing to escape away, and even the Raptor camp getting stolen by Razork as well. So he's going to start to open up with a little bit of a lead for himself too. So across the board, like, sure, Nuke is winning in mid, but you're seeing advantages for Sober on the top side with the way that this matchup's playing out, which is less than ideal for the Galio that's supposed to be the counter pick. And also Razork getting some nice pathing to steal away some of these camps and get a bit of a lead for himself as well.
Definitely very true. Triple longsword, not bad for the early additional bit of damage. Top lane, we'll have to keep our eyes on it, though, as Rooster taunt to set up. Sheo starting to wander in. Overheat there for Sobero. Trying to keep Sobero baited into a false insecurity, but surprise, there's Elise in here. The equalizer has been laid down, but Sheo quick to follow. Resonating strike, flash auto to secure the kill.
Nicely done there by Sheo. Didn't really have much on the top side to do when it came after his camp, so finds the play in top side. And Sobero just takes that step too far forward. And it's the first kill for Shifters.
And credit to Rooster. See, we weren't sure if him losing lane was a diffie in the skill department, but what he did was bait Sobero into a false sense of security and say, no, I just take bad trades sometimes. So he would never suspect that bad trade that he had taken multiple times in the laning phase was actually a genius bait.
And now there's no flash on Sobero in that top lane as well, so at least in with an L kick could be nice in a few minutes as well. As everyone moving up now for these Void Grub spawns.
Grubbies are there. Fnatic are going to be even 4v4 here, but Upset is not in the area, and that's a decent chunk of your damage. They also do not have the equalizer from the previous play, crucially. So going to settle for 2 and immediately back off. Don't want to stick around too long.
Yeah, so Shale at least will be able to get one. Razork just going to continue his clear down towards this bottom side. Shale kind of losing time here on clearing out his bot side camps, which are up though. So I'm curious after this, as the Lucian starts to push out the wave, if Razork looks for invade on towards this bottom side. Sobro doesn't have equalizer though, so he's a little at risk on this top half of the map of a dive. So Lospa, I think, should be moving up here to cover, but it looks like that call for the invade on that bottom half of the map is actually going to be what Fnatic are focused on.
Interesting choice of lane assignments. Clearly Shifters wanting to be in position to take the grubs, but it does mean the Galio, who finally got a bit of magic resistance, was not able to go into a lane where that magic resistance would be relevant. Razork now clearing out a bit of vision down towards the bottom side. It's 1 minute and 30 seconds till the second break of the game spawn. Shifters were able to pick up the first and the first blood as well. See if they can grab the second and continue the Drake stacking.
I'm surprised Razork didn't push that advantage a little bit harder. You oftentimes will see that, like, when Void Grubs are up, you don't really want your bottom camps to be up and available, because you can kind of see you take 2, you back off, and there's a timing window where Razork can play in to start stealing away those camps on the bottom side as you trying to finish off the third. But I think with the pressure that was in mid-wave, and Vladdy not being that topped up, they were a little nervous to try and fully commit towards that. But it does mean at least Shale able to continue to pick up the final bits of his camps on the bottom side.
Yep. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, you can see that Vladdy, while he was suffering for quite some time, now that he has the Berserker's Greaves and a bit of lifesteal, he's still trading down, but he's able to push that wave out without too much concern. And this matchup is going
Ko će bude spora partija. Što znači, ja bi verovatno rađe imao Junaru nego Luciana. Ali Lucian isto dosta jak.
Unfortunately, this is the thing I don't like about early games right now, Rob, is I want more fights. They're trading on map, I respect it, but I want more like 5v5s, right? We've got 2 comps that are, quite frankly, really sexy in a 5v5. A lot of cool things that can happen as the Colin comes down for a bit of pressure, but we're not getting any of those 5v5s, nor even really 3v3s at this point of the game.
I mean, Dragon is about to spawn, so maybe we get something, as both junglers are moving down towards this bottom lane. But with Culling now gone on upset, they didn't really get the hurt they were hoping for out of it.
Oh, hang on. Full committal here, locking Nuke into the pit, but pulling him out in the meantime as well. Vladdy unbinding his soul and rebinding it just like that as he sends Nuke to the grave.
Never mind, very great job by Razork in that mid lane, getting that quick kill. Sheo, I don't think you have the support you think to make this play happen.
Yeah, you are stronger, but you don't have enough people. There are 4 people there, Sheo. His body is telling him yes.
Is it like a maybe?
Yeah, it was maybe. Conflicted. A man's indecisive. Respectable, though. Gets some cooldowns out. Looks like it's going to be second Drake. They do get the kill mid lane, but not confident enough after burning both ultimates from Vladdy and Razork to take the fight. Yeah,
Fnatic were trying to make both plays happen, right? Use the Culling on the bottom side, maybe get enough hurt on towards Paddock, where that's kind of your lane that no longer has a point of contact for Shifters. Same with the play in mid, but unfortunately having used all their summoner spells, they don't feel confident to take the fight even in the 3v4. So instead, you're seeing the move from Razork up into this top side, tried to stake away some of the camps. Sobro gone for the reset. There wasn't any hope of a potential dive there, which I think is a little unfortunate for Fnatic. Maybe could have tried to look for something there, but still, you get the kill. 2 dragons into Shifters though. Maybe we're getting the LBDS back with some dragon stacking.
Honestly, again, I think this comp really feels unstoppable if they're able to get set up on these big objectives. If they're able to force these grouped up situations, and it gets a lot easier when the enemy team has to respond every time a Drake spawns.
Sobro's flash is just about to come up, and Sheo moving in towards this top side. There is a pink ward there, so Sobro doesn't have any vision. Backing away, nice timing though, making sure he doesn't die on this play.
Waiting until the flash is available. Has Leandry's holding onto a small gold lead. Vladdy has his gold lead as well. Upgraded boots. Definitely going to feel very nice for the sideline threat. Still short of his Blade of the Rune King, which is obviously a huge, huge item spike.
Yeah, and the slower pace of game, honestly, kind of decent for Fnatic, right? Like, you're getting time for Vladdy to scale.
Mislim da je Soboro poprično okej ovdje. Razmišljam sad o tome, mislim da je on skroz cool.
Nope.
Yeah. If your Yone is pesky supports roaming around the map, you know, you want to just have unfair 1v1 where you're significantly stronger than your lane opponent. But when you've got Nami, that kind of needs to be glued to the hip with the Lucian so you can play on mid-wave. Same realistically with Milio here as well. You're going to have way less threat for you in a side lane. So if Vladdy can continue to grow this lead against Nuke, it will actually be a major threat that you don't really have a huge amount of ways to deal with apart from just full sending Sheo down there every time.
Oh, I agree. I mean, you see that trade and you see why Yone is considered such a strong side lane threat. He's already gotten a level advantage just because he's been mid lane. It's really hard for Paddock to walk up, whereas when Nuke walks into a side lane against Upset, and thus Upset dash flashes into the Victor has no kill pressure. It's going to take years, whereas Vladdy can constantly stack that Q in the wave, really find these good side lane angles, but now set up for a play on the bottom side. Razork debating on using the Cataclysm. Fnatic just fighting for a bit of control here, maybe hoping to catch someone in the rotation. Now, it's a lot of vision set up. 3 minutes before the Drake spawns, you'd expect the Herald to be the focus, but Fnatic have laid a ton of vision bot side, so maybe they're looking for a play around Vladdy.
Yeah, not clearing out the vision in the pixel brush down here, though, is kind of crucial, because it'll always catch any sort of movement that you have on either end. And that's where Shifter is just trying to punish now. As Fnatic don't really
Soma, lead, Vladi ima lead također koji je dobio batine na početku, ni ovo ni malo loše za Fnatic. I Soboro, mislim, čila na topu skela i to je to. Ima li vrućine? Pa ima, boga mi, ali znaš kako, ispod klime, kampić i čao, vrati, šta da radiš? Kad je ovakvo vreme, nema bežanja od... nema bežanja od klime.
You can see basically Shifters feel comfortable to play around this area, same now in this area because of that ward knowing that, hey, Fnatic had actually backed off. So it means that you're not really in any sort of threat if you have to try and defend this bot lane at all.
Šta Vladir? Bro, što je Jon ovako jak? Da, isto, dragi moj kolega komentatoru, what the fuck?
He just soul unbound, Q3, walked in the bush, auto Q, auto W, auto, half your health gone.
Yeah, but he has one item, so... You know.
I love Yone. I love Yone so much as a champion. Is nasty as hell. Equalizer, just to push Shifters back. I think Sober was hoping for a little bit more follow-up. Did not have it. Vladdy is waiting over the wall with the Q3. That'll fade away. Of course, Fnatic, anytime they get set up on the objective...
Soma i 100 Vladi je ja ne znam šta je bio onaj damage od Yone, iskreno. Ok, Upset, ti ne radiš damage. Prestani, stani, Upset, stani. It's okay, bro. It's okay. Ovo je fine za njih. Uzeli su Free Heralda, forsirali su... A dobro, ništa, heal, I guess, da nije toliko strašno. Da, znači Jon je toliko glup hero, ja skoro sam igrao u solo queue nešto isto protiv Jona. Izneverovao sam koliko je hero broken. Doduše, ajde, taj Jon je imao fazon 3 itema, ali ono je strašno šta je uradio meni taj Jon. To je nerealno, baš nerealno.
Force teams into difficult decisions and then benefit off the fact that they maybe make a wrong decision or have to back away.
Yeah, and I gotta say, a lot of the reason that I feel good about Fnatic right now is Vladdy. Vladdy, this is his 3rd most played champion career long, is the Yone, but little moments like him moving in, chunking out Nuke right before an objective start has just made the game a lot easier. That said, Sheo trying to take things into his own hand. All in, committing on a Razork who flag and drags out and then jumps onto Nuke! And now they're getting snapped back and it's a 1v1. The Thunderdome, Razork versus Nuke. The Dragon Strike is there. Soboro to back it up. Lospa still living. Fnatic getting away with murder here. How are they doing it? Vladdy once again on the front line. Paddock, fire rains from the sky as that man is sent home in a body bag.
Absolutely roasted at the feet of Fnatic. The collapse, perfect. Soboro knowing that he had that TP to join in. And Fnatic get the dragon off the back of it as well.
And I'll be honest, expectations were a Fnatic-favored series. We might not have seen it in the first few minutes, but we are sure as hell seeing it now.
Da je pola sekunde kasnije Basikovo...
I mean, it's way too over-desperate though, right? You've already got presence in the mid lane with 3 members of Fnatic being able to come over and support Razork. The TP is significantly better for Soboro as well. And you can see there, Shifter's nearly able to get lost, but because of that, they overextend and Paduk pays the price with Soboro sending down the equalizer to finish it off.
Calm down. He got mega rage bait. I took his grub. Yeah.
Golf clap.
He did maybe get mega rage baited. Maybe we can ask Sheo about that later. And the rage, fair. If you weren't mad before, you probably should be now, because every single carry on the enemy team is 1,000 gold up over their opposing member. That is 2 items on Upset, 2 items on Razork. Vladdy well on his way to a second, and Sobro, I imagine, with a decent amount of money in the bank.
Yeah, and they haven't even used the Rip Turtle yet. Vladdy has it in his back pocket, probably will throw it down in the spot lane turret in just a moment as well. The second he sees more members of Shifters kind of congregating around this mid lane. Sheo thinking of opening up on top side, because you are losing mid turret with no protection here. So I thought he'd try and make the cross map play, because you can see they constantly have this ward just in that top rush, picks up rush, giving him access to the top lane, but doesn't want to full commit.
Yeah, it does feel a little bit like Shifters are floundering now at this moment. You saw Vladdy, it looked like, right as we panned to the bottom lane, had used the E to cancel Nuke's base, pushing him even further behind on the reset timing. Means that he has all this time along with the tower, as he solo walks forward to once again cancel a recall. He has denied at least a wave, if not 2 waves of CS. There is a Diffie in the mid lane in favor of Vladdy. You love to see it. Again, I could not state it hard enough. 2 weeks ago, this was not something we expected. We never thought we'd get to see 2025 winter of Vladdy again, but man is putting on a clinic.
Vladi izgleda baš dobro. I Soboro izgleda dobro. Soboro je konačno pobegao iz lanaca koji su ga držali, krenuli su da igraju kao ekipa. Što mi je jako drago, iskreno, zašto je jadan brat moj došao u Evropu, obećali mu Fnatic, lik video kao World Champions, ovo ono, dobio ne toliko dobre saigrače i kad sam ga pohvalio mora da umre, naravno, jer to je sudbina komentatora. Ali dobro.
But there's that cross map that we're talking about, right? That ward in the picks up rush, basically guaranteeing that you can shift up here and catch Fnatic off guard. So Sobro will get caught out, Vladdy will catch the wave. So it's just a kill, and with, you know, nothing starting at the moment really to speak of when it comes towards objectives on the map. It will just be Shifters resetting and trying to see if they can get a bit of control in these side lanes now that 1 point of pressure on Sobro is off the map.
Razork attempting to mind control again, will flag and drag through. He got it.
Ne, napolju je haos, ja sam isto jutros nešto rešavao, bio napolju, riknuo, onda se vratio Gajbi, otišao prošetam psa, bukvalno sam ga šetao ono, znaš ona fora kao flora iz lava, tako sam išao sa psom, jer ono, moram napolje ga izvedem, da ono obavi svoje, međutim, samo sam ono gledao iz hlada u hlad. Sreća pa ide oko tu u kraju imam ono putanju kojom idem da izađem na sunce, da ne izađem na sunce uopšte. Ali kao imam limitirano kuda mogu da idem po vrućini, jer svako ne mogu napolju po vrućini da ga vodim. Tako da baš je pakao napolju ovih dana. Fnatic vodi 5000 golda za 20 minuta. Ali ja vam kažem, ovo je priča da Fnatic pravi Miracle Run, pa eto šta vam kažem. Jer konačno imaju jele krštenog top lanera. Razork nikad nije bio loš, Vladdy je ogroman flip i botim je relativno konsistent.
On Peduk either at this stage.
Yeah. And like, look, I get it. Sometimes you look at something and you're like, that's cool. You're like, ooh, T-Rex, awesome. But if you're in a boxing competition, those tiny arms ain't doing shit, Rob, and that's what it feels like the Shifters competition is.
I don't personally feel like I could take a T-Rex in a boxing match.
Yeah,
but if like, you want to let that melee go run away
but if you're only allowed to box and you can pick King Kong or T-Rex, you should pick King Kong. That's my point. Is that, like, yeah, sometimes the comp you make is cool, but only if you're playing the right kind of game. And they're not playing the right kind of game right now. That'll change at 3 items, 4 items. But getting there is a tall task, because again, Fnatic at 5k, Shifters not able to get soul point. It's pretty hard for them to force Fnatic to fight on their terms, and Fnatic don't have the same problems. They got reach, they got damage, they can start fights whenever they want. They got a strong left hook. Shifters, stubby T-Rex arms.
Yeah. They're going to try and hit Sobro here. Equalizer already used, so he's kind of on his lonesome. Lospa just waiting in the wings, though.
But they can't do it because their arms are stubby T-Rex arms, Rob.
Yeah.
This is the core. They can't just go. They don't have a Syndra. They don't have a way to just one-shot a dude.
We have to give them one of those comical, like, extendo punches, you know, the ones that you can press and then it
give him some you know, DC Universe Joker-esque fist prop. I don't know what it is. They needed that in the draft.
Yeah. There's the new Acme movie coming out.
Yeah.
Cody versus Acme, I think it is. Or something, so yeah.
We'll see Shifters versus Acme after this one. Razork is once again there. Sheo getting cold. Oof. Folks, I don't like to say a game is over before it's over. But y'all have eyes. And Nuke is getting...
Nukes are closed.
Nuke's closing and praying that the monsters go away. My man checked under his bed, and there was a monster there. What do you do? He worked up the courage.
Yeah, and then he
said,
sat up and turns out
"Surely
there's
I'm
one
safe."
in the bed with him. It's
Yeah.
like-
Damn. Yeah, so Shifters. It's not entirely a drafted beef, and Fnatic executed super well, but I feel like it's tough once Shifters fall behind to play this game. Had a lot of tools, but now it's a 6K gold lead at 23 minutes.
It's crazy what Fnatic can do when Worlds is on the line.
That's actually, it is nuts.
Yeah.
How do they do this?
Meni je zabo internet na sekund.
Like, it's so cool to see.
Odakle Jopa iz Hrvatske, ne znam tačno koji grad.
Just adding Sobro into the mix. Vladdy looking significantly more confident. Like, this is a really cool version of Fnatic.
Yeah, and the secret was apparently Roblox, as we've heard from Otawame. I don't know why, but Vladdy just needed a little zen time between games of League of Legends. And now he plays like a demon. Of course, we're going to have to see how he shapes up against, you know, the top level mid laners. But remember that, like, last year, Nuke was consistent top 5.
Yeah.
Vladdy was the one struggling to break into that top 5. Vladdy was the one who couldn't find that level of performance. So regardless of if you think Vladdy clears the, like, top 3, top 2 test, this is still a big improvement for him.
And also I just love the little clips we've seen of Sobro calling him the GOAT all the time. Like, it does feel very awesome on the team at the moment.
He
which is
needed a
nice.
cheerleader.
He did. And Sobro was willing to be that, you know? But play on mid here from Shifters. Lost was on reset, so Fnatic don't really have the members that they need. Vladdy going to try and threaten the tier 2 in the top side as a result, but yeah, I was going to say may need to back away, but of course Soul Bound means that he can play a little bit safer there.
I mean, Vladdy has gotten away with that. Like, I have never seen an ability look more OP in a game than Young Eve has looked in this game.
Yeah.
He has canceled resets, randomly chunked people 50%, canceled a lot of resets. I don't know how many times
Iz
I can say
Osijeka,
that before it gets
eto.
old, but it has been so difficult.
Dobili smo info. Zašto je Rooster uzeo Merks? Zato što je Galio igrač i želi više Merks. Mislim, u suštini, ja mislim da oni sa Platedom ne može da preživi ona. Tako da, mislim da je svakako doomed. Ok, Razork u redu. Što agresija na Lisina.
Razork has full committed onto Rooster, not quite what you'd expect. Shifters are getting pushed back.
Dobro, Vladi. Neće stići, ne može da ulta. Jer da je ulta, sam bi ga katovo pullback previše brzo. Mislim, i dalje Fnatic izgleda skroz ok, mogu samo da uzimaju zmaj po zmaj i da čekaju i to je to. Nema šta.
Probably happy that wasn't a kill, because it was going to be his life that went down on that one.
Yeah, that... Luckily, they're 7,000 gold ahead, so any praise we've laid upon them and the potential caster curses that come from it have not had much effect.
No, because I thought at this stage it was like, oh, Fnatic, we just played for the side lanes. I think once they saw Shale going for it, though, they thought, oh, maybe this is our opportunity. So they turn into Rooster, but Rooster has flash and is exceptionally tanky. So not much you can do.
And that's, you know, Shifters doing what they can here. I think they played that, as best as they could. That is a bit of egg on Fnatic's face there. What are we doing cataclysming the
it was unnecessary,
Gallia,
right? Especially if like the entirety of Shifters are running out towards that top side. You already had that wave that you'd set up with the tier 2, right? So just try and play in towards taking that tier 2. But yeah, the 1-3-1 is the home for Fnatic. At least after this dragon, which is about to spawn in 35 seconds. But with the push already in top side, I think it's going to be Vladdy just trying to see what vision and what hope he can kind of put down here and thread onto Shifters.
Calling now onto Paddock. Zoned back as Fnatic will take this Drake, no doubt in my mind. When they want to take it really is up to them, but Shifters don't have a lot of map to play on. Razork and Vladdy stepping, not afraid to
Dobro, da, nije baš pola, ali da, radi ok količinu Magica, ali nije baš pola. Mislim da je bez botrka ti je oko 33% Magica, s botrkom je oko 20% Magica, čak možda i malo manje.
Fortunately, the Drake is already going to be dead, which is triple ocean for Fnatic. Just like fine. Enemy team's pretty all in, so you're not going to get as much.
Yeah, there is, like,
Mislim da je to matematika, njemu je
I will say
svaki...
in a full-on 5v5 though, like, there's still a world where
Svaki
maybe shifters
drugi
make it happen.
mu radi pola
I'm not
magic.
the biggest fan of the Imperial Mandate on Rooster.
Da.
I think he should have just gone full tank.
Znači on jednom basicuje full physical i onda sljedeći put basicuje pola physical, polu magic. To znači da je sa basicima 25% magica. Ali tako?
But either way, like, you still have triple melee on
Ali
Fnatic.
to dobra matematika,
If you get
jest.
a big taunt, big ultimate, something along those
Jest.
lines, maybe there's a chance. And with the Runan's Hurricane,
I onda mu sve
and
ostalo
then,
radi
like, Beduk will hurt if everyone is grouped
physical.
and he can get off some nice DPS.
Ultimo radi half, ja mislim.
Can he and Sten find a good position in the coming fight? It's really tricky though.
No, it is definitely. It's
Breath
like
of
a
Life
Hail
is
Mary.
really bad against this comp too, right? There's not really
I kumu
any
je
hard
physical.
PC that you can block with it.
Ja,
at all.
recimo da je tu
All
negde
knockups.
matematika otprilike.
It's just knockups across the board.
Yeah.
So definitely tricky for shifters in this position, but you can see the game has slowed a little bit. Vladdy continues to be annoying on the side lane, but even once he gets that third item, he can't really comfortably or reliably 2v1. Oh, actually, you know, honestly, maybe he can. 100% crit chance on an IE. This Yone is scary. But Fnatic, you assume, should be ready for Baron sometime soon.
Yeah, I think the biggest
Ne bi ja nikad, taman
slowdown
poslije.
we're seeing on Fnatic side is this kind of treadmill of people resetting. So we just had Vladdy reset, now he's going to push out bot. But Upset has only just pushed out mid, now he's resetting. So as Vladdy's going to push out this wave in bot lane, well, you're going to only be catching the wave in mid. So you haven't really synced up all your waves at the moment to try and play through a bunch of these side lanes right now. And again, I think Fnatic's like biggest threat is the 1-3-1 as this feels a little...
He's cooking up some chicken. Let him cook his chicken, bro! Rooster playing the bird-themed Galio skin is peak comedy.
But you can see here what I mean, right? Like, you now have this wave that's just crashed onto the bottom side, but you have no threat on the mid wave. So shifters considered just full sending onto the bottom lane to cover any sort of play. And now they're just going to catch both mid and bot wave.
Da, mislim W... Ja sam koliko treba, nisam siguran za W da radi pola-pola. Ulti radi pola-pola sigurno, ali ulti ti je... Mislim, ulti sam ulti nije toliko damage-a. Što ti kad pogledaš samo botter physical damage proc, koliko radi i Q koji mu većina damage outputa. W AP. Koliko ja znam AP, zašto znam da ja kad igram Lucija na AP da W radi magic damage, koliko se ja sećam. Scale-a od AP-a i radi magic damage. Bar ja mislim, jer kao kad god igram AD Lucijana, Vitality Armor pen mi ništa ne znači, W mi bukvalno ne radi damage. Tako da...
Feels like that should be the final nail in the coffin, although there's a lot of nails in this coffin already, so might not even need it if they can find an angle. Product caught out, that's a good bit of damage. Forced to backstep, has transcended and escaped.
Yeah. But you still have to be careful again. So Fnatic pressure on mid. Sobro isn't there yet because he went for the reset, whereas the rest of the team were pushing out. So they can't really threaten again in a lot of different directions, but at least having those twos taken make things a little bit easier for Fnatic now. But I do think it's going to be a wait for a dragon and try and full send with Fnatic and see if you can win out on the fight there.
Yeah, and there's just an impressive amount of vision set up on the map. Both top side and bot side have an immense amount of wards from shifters. It's a bit scattered, but Fnatic haven't really taken the time to clear it out because they just have such incredible deep vision, at least on the bottom side right now. Some of that's from the wave, some of that is from that ward all the way up in the brush. The Cheo does not know is there. But Rob, I don't know how shifters win this one, buddy. I don't know. Like,
no, it is tough.
I'm all on the product in theory.
Da, magic je... ima smisla. Jesi rago. Jarvan je AP, da. Svaki support Jarvan nikada. Šta radim? Vratit će brzo. Već jednom pukao na brzak, pa se vratio. Da znate, ako vidite male prekide do mog neta, nadam se da neće dugo bagovati.
Both sides throwing out a lot of ultis, but Shifters doing a good job of just backing away. Still, it's Fnatic with control of the river. Fnatic trying to poke Shifters as they want to take space, but a TP back now, coming in for Rooster. Eyes on the objective. Fnatic not quite focused on it. Blatty stacking up the Q3, ready to unbind the soul if necessary. Sober off the side in trouble, forced to flash away from Paddock, who's starting to get some good damage. Blatty over the wall, Q3 into Shale, quick snap back to get away from Rooster, dragging down Soul. In favor of Fnatic. Shifters debating if they want to fall up here. Nice knockup coming in for Razork. Rooster getting shut down. Resurrection now coming in from Razork. Will he lose his actual life? Exhaust on the Blatty. Gonna be forced to snap back here in a second, but it's a double kill. His upset comes in over the wall. Looking for a knockup. Down goes another Fnatic.
Ja vam kažem, znači trust. Ovo će biti comeback. Da.
Gold lead for Fnatic.
Paduk tried to be the difference maker, but it's Laspa who puts him in jail. Fnatic find the fight, and they should be able to find the game win.
If they don't, that would be very surprising. Fnatic, incredibly dominant fight, good patience on a lot of their cooldowns. You can see Shifters, they're just too far behind. Even if they had won the 50-50 on the Drake, it's still likely that Fnatic wins the fight. And Fnatic continuing that streak of improvement that started last week, reminding us how good this team can be. They pretty cleanly went out on this game one. They're taking their time fountain diving. That's a level of confidence you'll love to see.
Yeah, and I mean, I'd love to see this version of Fnatic, right? Like, this is a team now that I want to see succeed and see if they can continue this streak going.
We're going to have to find out, but for now, let's send it over to Analyst Desk to talk a little bit about that game one.
Now, this Fnatic is
Ja vam kažem, ne, Fnatic se vraća. Trust.
I'm just saying, Fnatic GPT did its thing.
It did.
Ništa, 10 minuta pauze i gledamo kako Fnatic dobije i drugi game, jer ja sam siguran Fnatic ovo dobije. Brba smo za 10 minuta.
Playing slow and controlled and making correct decisions was not something that was ever on my Fnatic bingo
But it
card.
was a mix, it seemed like, for me, right? Because it was that, but then it was also pulling the trigger like at one point wasn't, you know, there was one fight where it didn't work out, but that doesn't matter in the span of a game, right? It's the mix, I feel like.
It is the mix, and it's a lot of responsibility put on Razork from the draft. Like, he's playing this Jarvan, and he's the sole main engage. And sometimes, when I watch Fnatic games, I'm not sure I would have that much faith in Razork as the sole main engage, but I think
you don't want to give him too much responsibility, let's put it like that.
No, but if you look at a draft here that Fnatic came out to here with, it was the Razork on the Jarvan, and then did you see, you have 3 types of follow-up engage. You have the Nami ult, the Rumble ult, the Yone ult. It gives Razork so much confidence, knowing that if he engages, his teammates can follow from 2 screens away. And I feel like he really felt very zen this game. He didn't really go for plays he didn't need to, but when he needed to pull the trigger, he did it.
I really want to showcase something that Finn said backstage. He said that it feels like Shifters are not even playing the game. And this comes from that 1-2 the Shifter does, where they separate the Milio from the Lucian. And when you do this sort of gamble where you want to break up a prominent combo, you need to first win lane, which they didn't, but also you want this to secure something else somewhere else in the comp, because what Finn said, that they are not even playing the game, you see it, who is the one who will make a fight happen for you? If you get behind, who's gonna bring you back in the game? Because all you have is follow-up CC with the Lee Sin and the Galio, but who's gonna set you up to do any sort of wombo combo?
I think it's just a fundamental misalignment of how you approach a draft. So let's break it down as simple as we can, okay? How does Shifters win this game? You need Yunara to be ahead. You agree?
Yes.
What tools do we have to allow Yunara to be ahead?
Listen. Can't he come and gank?
There's nothing. I mean,
Oh.
I feel like there's no way, unless Shifters, for some reason, if Paduk becomes the best laner in the world and just generates a natural 2v2 lead in an even matchup, I don't see where Shifters is getting their win from, because Nuke was pushing in the Yone, but he can't really rotate all the way down. That's not really what Victor wants to do. The Galio was just quietly losing into the Rumble, and Shio, I think he felt a very heavy burden this game. He felt like he had to do something, but he couldn't quite find it.
The thing that Shifters had going for them was that Drake stacking, because in LEC, we're usually a region that is scrappy, slow, doesn't really play the best League of Legends, so more often than not, the team that does get the first 2 Drakes, you know, you will end up winning the game, because then you force the team to start fighting you and engaging on you. But Fnatic, this is the slow and controlled part that really, really impressed me. Every single time, you see right there, 69% win rate with the first 2 Drakes. So Technically, the Yunara Emilio should be getting this sort of situation where they're forced to fight, but Fnatic did something really impressive for me, because I don't see this from other teams in the region, bar KC and G2, is that Razor did great cross maps, because with each Drake that they were giving over to Shifters, he was getting 500 gold up. At some point past the second Drake, with all the cross maps happening, they were 1k gold up, and then it all culminates with one big fight where Fnatic, all of a sudden, you are there at the objective first, you did these trades where you're taking the gold, forcing the fight, when this should have been the prime position for Shifters to be winning this fight.
Yeah, and it comes back to the fact that Shio feels the pressure to be the one to force the fight. You see, he takes the first one with Heaving's Razor, goes too deep into his jungle, smites his Gromp. From Razor's word, he rage baited Shio to go for this play. But it's like, Shio has played this game for 15 minutes, can't really find a single fight, and this is one opportunity where maybe a fight happens, takes that play, and suddenly the game is unplayable for the rest of the game. Like, you cannot do anything after this point as Shifters.
But this is the interesting part, because usually in the region we're always feeling that, oh, it's the pressure is on Fnatic, because they need to come and they need to take the third Drake and they need to, you know, bring the game, slow down the tempo and bring it back under their control. But no, it was completely different. The pressure was now on the side of Shifters, where, hey, already we're losing control of the game, we're starting to fall behind in gold. If we don't get this third Drake, then all of a sudden our only win condition, which ended up being maybe the soul at 20 minutes, is completely gone. And we saw it. It just went completely out the window and it was GG.
It was. Vladdy had a little bit of a rough laning phase to begin, but it's not about how you start, it's how you end.
Exactly, because my main criticism of Vladdy in the previous weeks was his laning phase. And even though, sure, you have games where it just doesn't go well. And this one, sure, the matchup Yon versus the Victor, you end up falling behind a little bit. But beforehand, you would see Vladdy lose his mind and completely run it down. But now there was a lot of action on the mid lane. Everyone was there to back him up. And time was on his side. We already saw by minute 15, 18, the Yone, who was, I don't know, 200 gold down on the Victor, he hit his power spike, Berserker Kreese, Blade of the Ruined King. He was completely OP.
And there's one thing that I don't know Fnatic's comms, I don't know how they communicate, but something that I felt watching them, and something that I think is happening behind the scenes, is a lot of reassurance. It felt like a Fnatic where they're constantly saying, we can give this, we can cross-map, Vladdy, it's fine, use it scaling to get one item. They were so relaxed and confident that when they get their item spikes, when they reach that moment where they can team fight, they will come out on top. And it felt like Fnatic wasn't stressed at all. It was a low cortisol gaming all around.
Well, I don't know how the comms were this game, but I can tell you how they were a couple of weeks ago, because it was the typical bad team syndrome where someone is doing a Drake and then someone on your team says,
are we fighting?
Exactly. Are we fighting? And someone says no, and the other guy says, no, but guys, we should fight, and then that's how you end up inting it.
Your top laner is cross-mapping with top laner. Guys, are we not diving this top laner?
I mean, Sober entered a couple of times on silent, but we saw it this game. It was, oh, well, I guess they're first on the Drake, we give it. I'm gonna go farm some campies, because that's how Razor calls the camps campies.
Wow, revolutionary, revolutionary.
So endearing, and
it really culminated with this fight, where Shifters, sure, they are down a lot of gold there, but you see they're standing there looking at Fnatic, and they're like, we want to fight, we want to fight, we want to fight.
Yeah, and then they're just nothing.
And then they're like, okay, Shio, and go.
Look at Upset, by the way.
Upset just glides all over Shifters.
Flashes in. And you were saying, Odo, because we meme so much about Lucian win rate and we looked it up, like, of course, it's a little better now. I think now is it 5-13 or 6-13?
I think it's 6 and 13 right
But
now.
it wasn't Upset who was one of the wins, I checked. But you said that in scrims, he's such a demon on Lucian. And I feel like that's a tale with most ADCs. They're probably pretty good on Lucian. It just doesn't work in our competitive environment.
Exactly, because in scrims, when you play Lucian, more often than not, it's a scrim game, so someone is running it down, someone's getting you fed on Lucian, and then you get to play URF mode Lucian pretty much. But more often than not in the LEC games, the games are very, very slow, and when you don't have this goal difference between the ADCs, it feels like it doesn't really get a lot of impact. But this game I felt like we did great. The Nami separation of like finding the Nami combo now with Lucian empowered them to do more, and all he had to do was bide his time and just make it to the late game.
Yeah, Shifters going into this next game, a lot to work on. I mean, let's start with the draft, I guess.
I mean, Shifters, you need to show me something. Come on.
Yeah.
It's been 5 series
it's like,
now.
do something.
It's the 6th series now. You need to show me something that you can build on. Whether it's Shio looking in a carry and a full clearing and then going for team fights like they did in Heretics, whether it's them just going full Senate on Rooster like they did in G2, they need to find somewhere they can look for plays, because this draft screams identity crisis.
Oof, identity crisis for Shifters. Let's see if they can find it after the break.
Nobody's looking over.
He jumped on me, guys. Look, he's kicking me.
I'm moving with TP.
Lean on flash.
Look,
I'm on Victor too.
you know, I can look.
You know flash.
No
flash now.
I got it. Good job.
Penta. Guys, keep penta. Oh, never mind.
Sorry.
It's fine.
My
2 seconds.
My ult is 5. We can end, guys.
Oh, you was penta.
Go mid.
Nice try.
I never get a penta.
Brother, let me try.
Wait, brother. Let us break this instead, brother.
Have a break. Have a Kit Kat.
What is this, brother?
Perfection.
A new champion. Welcome to my shop. You'll need the right build. Choose wisely, because every upgrade brings you closer to the next level. So tell me, how will you level up?
Want to find your fastest server every time? Express like a pro and optimize your connection in one tap. Express and game without ISP throttling. Express and shield yourself from DDoS attacks. Express and choose the VPN trusted by gamers everywhere. Express VPN. Experience gaming the Express way. Fast, stable, competitive. Outplay the world. It's time to Express. Unlock free Hextech rewards, exclusive skins, and more. Scan to subscribe.
In your best man speech, you said my wife is funnier than me.
That's factually correct.
Okay.
We're in range.
It's fine, man. It's fine. Relax. I've got this. I have years and years and years of experience.
Yeah, but it's gonna last.
And there we go. Look at that. What are you so worried about?
Oh,
welcome back. It's the LEC. That's right, you missed us. You really couldn't live without us for those 3 minutes. Gonna be honest, you guys need to calm down. A little too desperate.
Yeah, it's getting a bit weird.
It's getting a bit weird. You guys are coming on too strong. One team that needs to come on a bit stronger is Shifters.
Yeah.
Need to see a bit more. Heard the analyst desk highlight a lack of engage, some struggles for the composition of Shifters. We'll see what the adjustment is there from the boss man on stage. Zooming in, camera. Leak them strats. Show us what he's got cooking in that little folder, notebook.
Yeah,
I don't know what that is.
it's very
Printout?
colorful.
Nope, we panned away. I see. Cax on the opposite side, much smaller notebook.
Either way.
We're going to pick some bands. Look, it was a really weird game one, and I'm going to be honest, it has thrown the vibe for me.
The vibe is still
I really
there,
was ready to take today very seriously, and game one was deeply not serious. So we'll see what game two looks like. Reminder, if you missed it, Fnatic, really, really dominant performance. A lot of early activity, a lot of early ganks for Razork that turned into much greater advantages. And now, as we enter the second game, we're going to see an immediate lock-in of the Rise. Another comfort pick for Vladdy.
I think he looked exceptional in their last series as well. So, yeah, I think the glow up for Vladdy cannot be understated. He's looked absolutely spectacular in the last couple of series, and I'm glad to see it continue here against Shifters as well. Shifters to respond though, Anivia already banned away. I'm not entirely sure what you could try and take into the mid lane here. Okay, they're just going to go with the Talia, so still try and match that roaming opportunities. And I think the Pantheon, a good shout here as well to try and lock down some of that side lane pressure that could come through here.
Pantheon would be a solid option. Remember that Talia is something we've seen in the hands of Paduk, but we have not seen it in the hands of Nuke yet this split. So see if that remains a flex. Obviously Talia, a champion who can match the semi-global presence of Arise, but the Pantheon, I like it, Rob. This is what I want to see. We talked about it last game. Sheo, not to burst your bubble, my guy, but you're 0-3 on the dog. You're 0-2 on the blind monk. I don't think it is a carry season for Sheo. I think it is a supporting cast member, and I like this man a lot more when he's on something that can get active and get active early.
Ooh, and the Nocturne, yeah. So I like the Nocturne. Again, like that kind of threat for the side lane play that we're already kind of talking about and highlighting with the Pantheon. So kind of doubling down on that and turning off the lights to make it a little bit more difficult for Shifters to try and coordinate. Upside out's going to take the Jhin. Basically just saying, hey, look, this game not about me. I know that this is going to be about that 1-3-1 and the Nocturne trying to play through that. So imagine keeping that counter pick for the likes of, well, it won't be counter pick, but keeping that later pick for Sobro and seeing if maybe you can ban away like things like Vayne, those kind of picks in this next rotation and set up for a good top lane is more than likely going to be Fnatic's bread and butter.
Definitely have to keep our eyes on where the Talia is going as well. Of course, Upset has relegated himself to a bit more of a utility role, which I think has been fine for this new era of Fnatic, an era where Razork ganks lanes other than bot lane.
The Leona pick is very strange to me though, because you're not really under threat with engaged supports at the moment, especially with like Nami, Emilio being the first two. Like Rel, Alistair, Nautilus, Leona, Rakan, all still up and available. So this feels like a very early Leona pick, and now you're more than likely kind of, I suppose you're not really, you're expecting top lane bans like the Vayne, so you're not, I suppose, fully put out, but I wasn't going to see Fnatic like immediately tunnel onto support.
Yeah, I think it's more about concealing other options, right? They pick up Leona, they ban away some of the conventional other options, and they save the potential Talia flex as well as what their top lane is going to be. So it just seems like support trickles down as the best option. Leona getting locked in is a bit surprising. She is notoriously super OP in those early game skirmishes, those early 3v3s, and Pantheon as well. So at least I think Shifters are thinking about, hey, when they want to fight, when their champions are strong at the same time.
Yeah, I think it's just kind of a fake flex on the Talia to the bottom lane. I just don't think she's there at the moment. Like, I still think Cassiopeia can be moved to the bottom lane. Kinda Syndra can be shifted there as well. I just don't know if Talia is going to be strong enough to kind of move down into that position. So
we'll find out. Right?
Yeah,
that's the beauty of this game. I like the Bard ban. Want to take that away. Bard, a champion who can match some of what Leona does in lane, but just also roams quite well.
Could take the Mbessa away here if you really want to, because that's clearly what Sobro is setting up with the Renekton and the Vayne ban. Unless you are worried about, hey, actually they're just going to go for an Olaf in response or something like that, which also still could work here.
Okay, it's Tristana. Is it bot lane or mid lane? Rob, this is the struggle.
Yeah, I think I still think it's bot lane Tristana.
Here's the question. If they put Tristana mid and Talia bot, do you kind of hate it or do you like it?
I'm not the biggest fan of this.
Okay.
I think like Jhin is still fine to just kind of push out against the Talia. The Talia is like quick shove and then like try and back off. Like you still got the Jhin long range engage, long range setup. The Rel is going to be match roams. Tristana won't be able to play the matchup as effectively in mid lane if there's, you know, a bunch of supports roaming around the map as well. So, like, I think you kind of just snooker yourself a little bit if you actually end up playing this Taliyah bot lane. Plus, you don't get the value of Taliyah having those access to the side lanes and stuff. So, yeah, I think it's just Tristana bot. I'd be very surprised if you flex last second.
No, I like this. I think this works out pretty well. Shifters overall have a lot of proactive tools this time around. Complete 180 from the composition they played before. Every single member of their team has a piece of hard CC that they can bring to the table. And Fnatic trying to keep upset at arm's reach, but a really excellent set of divers here. The Ambessa does lack one of the traditional reliable Ambessa pairings, something like the Vi that holds the target down, but the Rune Prison, the Rel, hoping to make the difference. And never mind, there's swapping.
Okay.
And that's the beautiful thing about flex picks, Rob, is just because you don't want them to doesn't mean that they cannot surprise. It is Tristana mid lane for Nuke.
Yeah. So the reason I wasn't the biggest fan is, like, Tristana kind of wants to play like a nutcase against the Rise, right? Like, try and jump onto him, on top of him, fully burn through with the, like, having your Q and the E at the same time, and, like, really put the hurt down. So I liked having, like, the Pantheon at least there to try and support in that endeavor. But if you have, you know, Lospit playing around that mid lane and starting to move around because Sten doesn't want to be focused on the bot side, I think that then limits the opportunities for Nuke to really play that aggressive. But we'll have to see if it can pan out. Maybe they can supplement that all-in potential from Nuke.
Perhaps they'll be able to. It's a 1v1 matchup I have not seen in a long time. Generally, wisdom is anytime someone has lethal tempo. If you get the lethal tempo fully stacked, you win the long trades, but that can change pretty quickly. Rise, relatively low cooldown, can get in and get out in a lot of these trades, whereas Nuke very much all in on this Tristana, as she has been as a mid lane.
Evo i mene, ajmo časkamo.
Existence in mid lane.
Tristana loša na početku se ne da, ali znaš šta je fora što ti nebitan range? Ti sa Tristanom na midu želiš da nekom skočiš na glavu. A kada pogledaš koncept, neče palim traku pa ćete čuti na sekund. Poenta je što Tristana na midu radi jako dobro u međe, jer su međevi jako slabi rano ako im neko skoči za vrat. I onda Tristana se ne igra kao na range prvih nekoliko levela, već se igra na W nekom u glavu, baciš E i samo stakaš bombu do kraja. To je fora. Tako da se ona baš igra na badački. Inače, Warp, mislim, ako hoćeš da proverim ja da li si se ti prijavio, da li ti treba neka potvrda nešto, to mogu da ti proverim. Kažem, mislim, imamo, organizatori imaju sve prijavio, već su krenule ekipe ozbiljno da se prijavljaju. Ali ima još mesta, mislim, to je lagano. Ako te i to zanima, i to mogu da kažem. Ja ću vam reći kad smo blizu kraja prijava. Sad tek je krenulo, još nisam ja stavio ni short, ni TikTok, ni ništa. Tek je na Discord servere krenulo se kači. Draži draft od fanatika. Pa mislim, znaš kako? Fair. Mislim da su oba okej, mislim da nema lošeg drafta, iskreno. Drugačije su malo draftovali, drugačije će malo igrati. Talija na botu pogotovo je jako veliki flip, osim ako nisi Paze. Tako da... Okej su oba drafta. Jer ovi što kao imaju Taliju na botu, bar imaju AD carry-a negde drugde. Eto, okej. Tristana je baš dobila ogromne buffove.
So the problem that we're seeing is the other part of that change was the supports kind of like, hey, we're going to really hinder you if you start to move around the map too much. Yeah. But it does mean that supports are going to be stuck to the bottom lane. Like we're kind of seeing at the moment. No, not stuck, but Stand is sitting in bot lane with Pajok for a lot more, as Gank, Nuke should be able to jump away from this.
Sheo's here. They might not want to jump away. Sheo trying to stack up. Monofoil going all in on Vladdy. Rocket jump forward, looking to burn him down, but Vladdy getting a little bit of an extra shield. Nuke looking to finish that one. Gets a reset on the jump. Now flash away. Rajak will at least get the 1-for-1.
Okay, some nice holding off there for Shifters. Nuke not jumping too far away, even flashing away from that damage from Vladdy. It goes 1-for-1. At least Tristana gets to hold on to the wave, so she will get a little bit of a CS lead, and she got the kill. Razork being a nice guy holding the wave here for Vladdy. but it's still a tiny advantage for Nuke, and you have to see if he can play through that in the 1v1.
Mora se pohvaliti, sam dobio više rejectove juče i danas od igrača za tim nego lagano, imam mesta, Vorp, ne brini se, nemojte to stresirani malo. Nemoj, mislim, ja ću reći kad ostane jako malo mesta, svakako. Ali, kažem, nemoj ni da žuriš da napraviš tim, razumeš, koji ti nije nešto, samo da bi imao tim, jer, moja prognoza neće to da se popuni do kraja prijava, tek pred kraj prijava će biti napeto. Tako da mislim da sljedeća 2-3 dana bez problema, lagano sve. Kažem, bolje sklopi bolji tim nego da se... Znaš, da žuriš pa da kao da igraću s bilo kim samo da igram. Polako, ima vremena, ima sigurno vremena. Tek su krenule prijave da dolaze.
And maybe the whole call is, look, Nuke is going to get so fed to all live in hell that he's just going to hard carry the game because of how good the matchup is. But at least having the early kill, maybe that becomes a little bit easier.
Ooh, nice flick back on an upset. Cleanse comes out, but doesn't stop Sten from just walking face first into him. Extended trade, though, still really not bad for Fnatic. Product cooldowns are so
Nema, kažem, nema potrebe da paničiš dok ja ne kažem ostalo je malo mesta. Kad kažem ostalo je malo mesta, ako udarimo taj trenutak, onda već treba onda već je daj šta daš ugao za saigrače.
I like the call out though, Rob. I do really feel for the balance team here though. They're kind of caught in a classic biology dilemma of
Paddock doesn't have mana. Paddock does not.
Oh, he's just enough. Minions? Caster minions?
Round war.
Vladdy not going to be able to get in.
Yeah, no flash on either of them, so Vladdy was hoping for the best but couldn't get it there.
If you die to caster minions, is that a caster curse? That's my question. Does that also count?
It depends on the words they said as they shot that last.
That's true.
Yeah.
I like to think that they talk a lot of smack. Shifters, TPing in, know that they have prio right now, and just looking to leverage Paddock's TP to stay active here. It is a battle for Raptors. Those little chickens. Raptors now going to go out. Lost but wants to kick things off. Razor already has level 6, but they immediately collapse over the Nocturne. Gets deleted. He can't even push his ulti button. Shifters in game 2, finding the aggressive angles. Things working out for them nicely there.
Shifterzi hvataju malo, mada kažem opet, ste Fnatic fanovi lagano, ima ga Fnatic, verujte mi. Verujte mi, Fnatic se vraća. Kad kreće turnir, 29. je online kvalifikacije, tako da do tada morate imati tim, to je bitno. Pogledaj Tristanu što ne umire, pogledaj 5 MR buff na levelu 1. Či buffovi van svake pameti, brate, prebufovaš Tristanu ničim izazvano. Ali da, turnir je 29. tako da imate još 6 dana. Imate odbrojavanje na sajtu. Imate sajt koji je pinovan, dobar flip. I sad će Sten da ga izmačuje. Da. Shifters good, Fnatic bad. Braća moja kasteri. A dobro, mislim, vidi.
Oh my god, it's just continuing. Okay, Paddock's kind of nasty on the Talia, I gotta be honest. He's hitting a lot of stuff in this lane phase. Observers, we're gonna need that one again, and preferably slow-mo at the end. Let's take a look.
Yeah, so, I mean,
dobro, lep kombo, okej. I on je lešovo na standovo Q, jer misli će provući basic attack. Da je sačekao istekovo Q i onda bacio flash basic, dobio bi kill.
Oh, that was heartbreaking.
Just ran out of bullets.
I mean, he was just dizzy, bro. Stunned consistently. How do you play?
The stun is crazy into the flick. Wild.
Evo ga, ljudi, pinovan je sajt.
Now Paddock has a gold lead. Nuke has a gold lead. It's not massive.
Imate pinovan sajt u chatu. U koliko sati se igra? 29. u 4. I bit će i Counter turnir, isti je nagradni fond. Counter kreće malo ranije, zašto je Counter, nikad se ne zna, razumete, ono, tiebreakeri, mislim ne tiebreakeri, ali overtime i sve to. Tako da Counter kreće ranije, LoL kreće u 4, Counter mislim da je u 2, ako se ne varam. Tako da, sajt je pinovan u chatu.
will just leave strike away instantaneously. Blatty getting very aggressive. Oh, Fnatic flashes the wall to keep things going. Podak, beautiful flick back. Fnatic way too far, but they don't quite finish off Razork. Now there's a Jackson melee range, but Upset is once again out of ammo. Furiously reloading his pistols. He starts to free fire, but the counter strike is finally there. One more bullet. Go for it, but he learned from last time. He learned he's not walking in. Rooster manages to survive. I've lost track, Rob. Who even won that exchange?
I think it ended up pretty even, apart from the Void Grubs going to shifters. Like 3 of them going across, but yeah, I think it's still just a 3 for 3. So we get this initial start off where I like the engage from Razork and Sobro, right? Turn and immediately burn the ultimate from Sobro, hidden by the ultimate from Razork. But the focus there onto Jax. Rooster ends up popping out. Shifters trying to engage on Blatty was a little dangerous here though. And it was only the flick back basically from Product that set things up, because Upset, yes, he's on the far side of the wall, but Curtain Call doing work, Rooster jumping in and somehow managing to escape away from this as well. Maybe if Sobro had kind of come down on this side, he actually could have caught the exit. But still, yeah, bedlam in the fight.
Complete bedlam. That's double flashes burnt. I mean, Sobro has like credit to them. They're on the same page. There's some questionable writing on that page, is what I will say. But they are the 2 with the gold lead, so I like to see that level of aggression to try to bring their team back into this game. Now, the good news is Sten was someone who picked up one of those kills, which means the gold not in an ideal place for Shifters. But Sobro was looking in trouble. Now he's got a 3v2 in favor of Fnatic on the top side. Sheo, the one who's overstayed. The fear is there, and down he will go. The game of League of Legends, counting is key, and Sheo, well, he miscounted, is now re-engage, coming in for Razork. Nice zone away. Fnatic has to be careful not to stray too far forward, though, as they're losing a lot in the mid lane. Bot lane similarly pressured now by the side of Shifters.
Yeah, they're moving Upset and Lost to cover the mid play, and it's Tristana who's going to take that very, very quickly. Good interrupt from Stend as well, using that Solar Flare to stop the back from Sobro. But now you're going to lose turret plates on the bottom side as well. So what started off as a nice play for Fnatic, they overstay, trying to force again onto Rooster, and it's actually giving Shifters some gold and elsewhere.
Yeah. Podak happy to have that additional source of income. It's been pretty consistent in these fights thus far. 0-0-4. Luke also 3-0-1. So apologies, Shifters. I was not familiar with your game. I was skeptical. We were skeptical about how this was going to work out for you. But at least in the early game, Tristana mid to lead in the bot lane has looked like it's paid off very beautifully.
Dragon now going to be set up as well. Stend is on the top half of the map though. And so is Razork. So we're kind of getting the rest of Fnatic moving into position to be like, hey, maybe you can contest this because Leona was top. But Razork not in position to follow up.
Classic spectator objective. Walk in just to see how the enemy team does it. Now it is only the first Drake of the game, and we're about 12 minutes in. So Shifter's very far away from any kind of soul win condition. And for the second game in a row, our first 2 Drakes are Chemtech and Mountain, which is kind of nice. It means we get a one. That's Perhaps Shifters.
You sound like Bart Simpson in most times.
Ne igra se za treći iz prostog razloga što je LAN jedan dan. I onda, znaš, da se stavi da se igra iza treće, a imamo jednu binu, jedan stage, jedan setup. Znaš, to znači da, sad ja kažem u teoriji, ti možeš doći ujutru odigrati LAN i onda otići kući uveče. Znaš, da se igra i za treće mesto, onda bi potencijalno LAN morao da se oduži na 2 dana i onda to stvara mnoge komplikacije. Mislim sad, dajem primjer, razumeš, možda ti imaš gde da prespavaš, da iskuliraš, a možda neko drugi nema. I onda samo otežava svima sve, ovako je mnogo lakše. Ko izgubi, u suštini ko izgubi u polufinalu, on može ide kući. Ko došao ujutru, odigrao polufinale, jedno drugo ko izgubi polufinale, može kući da ide lagano. I onda je slobodan, uzeo nešto prize poola, slobodan je za ostatak dana, pa ja mislim, znaš. Jer mislim onda, znaš, morali bi da smanjimo prize pool za 4. A nekako sam ja gledao, znaš, ako je neko ono, da nije baš predaleko, da je tu negde u Srbiji ili možda negde na granici, pa da to 3., 4. možda rekli da pokrije. Znaš, da ekipe bar imaju, da kažeš, garantovano tih 300 evra da pokriju deo puta, bar ako ništa drugo. Znaš. To je nekako bila moja ideja. Ovako, znaš, ako neko dođe na LAN i onda bude 4., a 4. nema nagradni fond ili ima nešto jako malo, Ne znam. Morao sam ja da prelomim tu na kraju, pa je to moj call bio. Znaš, rekao, ajde, ovako je samo jednostavnije. Kažem, bit će sreće da se ponovi turnir, pa onda uvek možemo da adaptiramo u odnosu na šta se ovaj turnir bude dogodilo.
But hoping to see that first win today. They do need to win 2 games back-to-back, and right now they only have about a 700 gold lead as well as a Drake, as Sobro perhaps a bit over-eager. Public execution, a good start to the play. Sobro has to flash away in anticipation of what's coming, but Panak! And he's immediately TPing elsewhere to cover mid.
Razork is top lane.
Razork is top lane. Maybe he shouldn't have TP'd so fast, but no. The stunned, not blocked by the spell shield. It looks.
Pa dobro, da ne znam kolika je karta iz Crne Gore, iskreno. Mislim, nisam dugo putovao nigde autobusom, pa ne znam sad kako se kreću cijene. Ne znam koliko se kreću cijene baš sad autobusa ili čega god. Vladi je samo dund. A vi će Shifters i dalje izgubiti, znači ne znam kako, ali će naći će način da izgube. Vidi, Warp, mislim to, ja ću videti, to ne mogu da obećam. Znači ovo je sad moje lično, ako uspem, ako ne. Ja ću probati da organizujem da za taj dan bude neki catering tamo. Ovo ne obećavam, znači odmah da se ogradim maksimalno. Probat ću da obezbedim tamo na lanu da bude šta da se jede. Da ne morate za to da se brinete. Tako da to, kažem, ne garantujem, probat ću, javit ću vam. I znaću možda kroz neki 10-ak dana za ekipe koje dođu na LAN, ali probat ću da obezbedim neki catering ili neku hranu ili nešto, znaš, nemam pojma. Ma da, to stoji, mislim, nema tu šta, znaš, nego kažem, ja bih voleo ako mogu da obezbedim, znaš, na kraju dana imaš fore, mislim, fore. Imaš u Beogradu firmu neku koja pravi pice od metar. Naručimo 10 metara pice, vrati. Nije ni sad, mislim ono kao šta god, samo da ima nešto. Sad ko ima neke specijalne zahteve i to se organizuje, ali... Znaš, mislim da... Shifters će izgubiti i dalje, bene. Ne znam kako i dalje. Da li može neko da se gleda, mislim neće biti za publiku, ne. Bar ne prvi. 40 popust, to je insane, to je super, dogovor, pa to onda je ekstra. Znači eto, iz Crne Gore može se dođe, u najgorem slučaju ako budeš četvrti ti je bar vraćeno, ono, bar si otišao na LAN event, mislim, fora, što da ne. Ali kažem, još se neke stvari razvijaju, delit ću s vama polako, kažem, ako budem uspio da rešim neki catering, super, mislim. Ja ću se potruditi, ne mogu da garantujem jer nije sve do mene, ali mislim da bi to trebalo da bude relativno moguće. Jer to na kraju dana kad vidiš sve i šta se organizuje i price pool i sve, nije neka velika razlika da li će biti dan ono, cateringa ili ne. Tako je, Antonida, ti možeš da igraš, ali na kraju dana ti ako uđeš u top 4 i ne možeš da dođeš na LAN, tvoja ekipa je pod navodnicima diskvalifikovana, jeli? Jer jednostavno, ono, i ti kad se prijavljuješ ti vidiš tamo da piše da je obavezno dođeš na LAN. Ako ne možeš, neko drugi će doći umjesto tebe, mislim. Možda igraš for fun, u suštini. Ako ti je zabava što da ne prijaviš se, igraš samo poslije kažeš ne mogu da dođem i to je to.
Shifters, is this your time to fight? Blast Cone is there. They're locked up. They're rooted. Can anyone hit the Blast Cone? No is the answer. Shifters running for dear life. All D out is not going to happen. Vladdy snipes him with the overload, and Fnatic even things up.
Fnatic turning that play around was insane. Vladdy pushing Paddock off the wall, keeping Razork alive, because there was no world where Razork should have been face-checking this. You have zero vision. You have no idea where Shifters are. But the fact that he barely manages to escape, thanks to Vladdy here, interrupting Paddock. And after that, the Jhin putting in so much work. The follow-up from Sobero, the kill comes down, the chase is clean from Fnatic. Sure, they lose one, But this realm warp, but the immediate wards on the blast cone to prevent anyone from following up means they're able to get a few more on the back end.
That is a lot of wards.
Yeah.
I only saw one ward when we first watched that. I was about to criticize them for not doing the quick flick on the scroll wheel to zoom in and click, but
yeah.
that's too many wards.
Yeah. They were not letting you get anywhere there.
Nope.
But again, nice from Fnatic, right? Because Shifters had started to take very much firm control of this game. And the composition from Shifters is it's most threatening when they constantly have access to the map and they're able to keep this ball rolling. By turning around that play in the bottom side, Fnatic can push out waves, stop Shifters from threatening in their own jungle, and now actually try and set up on the map a little bit easier, push for some of these objectives in the next few minutes.
That they can. Of course, for Fnatic, Razork's still the person that we need to look at, and still the person that fumbled a bit in that initial play start. Did manage to make it out, but stepped way too far forward without information. Something we'll have to keep track of. The Shifters putting a decent amount of pressure in the side lanes.
He is still massively far ahead, though. 1.4k gold lead. Like, he is the focus here, and if he can find some of these plays, the Shifter is trying to retake position.
Shifter's determined to take Razork out of the equation, whose spell shield is now gone, turning right back on Sheo, trying to get tricky with it. Public execution doesn't hit. Sobro forced to flash over the wall to look for the follow, but Padak is once again caught out on the backside.
Kifli, mogu da kiflice, to je istina. Čekaj samo vidim da li će Fnatic da dobije fight, stani. Nuk radi što hoće. Nuk im skače po lobanji. Nuk je failovo život. Nuk nije failovo život. A ne može, Shiftersi. Bravo upset. Bravo upset. Lepo. Da, što kaže šef, možeš prijaviš izmenu. Tako da u teoriji da, prijavi izmenu koji ne mora da igra kvalifikacije i kad dođete na LAN ako se kvalifikujete, samo izmena neki igra ovaj što je prijavljen. Razumiješ? To je okej, to je opcija. Samo prijavi tog lika što će igrati LAN ako dođete do LAN i to je to. Jako lepo je da Offset je iskreno. Offset je baš clean odigrao ovo. Jer ovo je bio jedini, inače ovo je bio jedini pametan ulti i najpametniji u isto vreme. Jer ako Talija ne jaše zid do kraja, ima još dva puta šanse da puca da je pogodi, ako nastavi da jaše zid i dodža preživeće, tako da to je jedini meta koji puca što. Ja sam rekao da Shiftersi gube, nema tu šta.
Shifters taking themselves after that last fight, costing them so much in the end. They might try to go for this tier 2, but it's still a bit of a tough take.
They kind of feel like they need to. They use triple TP to try and get to the Baron, and they couldn't quite make that work either. So they were hoping they could just brute force their way through the topside turret, but it was only Razork who was really taken low enough and had to reset. So Fnatic hold on to the top side. They'll keep the waves off of their turrets, and Shifters maybe looking to fight this Dragon in 40 seconds. We're now looking at a Fnatic that are much more capable of fighting.
That we are. It really felt like with the advantage that Shifters had, with the amount of global pressure they could put down, that there wouldn't really be a way back into this game for Fnatic. However, that has not been the case. 2.5 items for Nuke most certainly still holds on to his individual gold lead, but a lot less scary than you would anticipate as Fnatic still able to push up. We'll see how much they can get out of this Red Bull Baron power play. Only 200 gold in their favor. So since picking it up, Shifters has grabbed a lot more money, and Nuke is still a big threat in the side lane.
It's a solo lane fight though. Both members here on either squad. Fnatic just trying to force Shifters back. They know that they already have position around Dragon. Shifter is going to give up this Dragon and maybe look for a play on top side. The double globals of Sheo and Paduk are in the area.
And looking to support him. All 5 members could be here in the blink of an eye. There is no cross map available outside of the Drake than few observers. No towers threatened yet. Razork going to be the split pusher at this point. Moving down to try to force that wave in. Still a minute left on this Baron.
Ne postoji minimum rank, ne. Ne postoje kotizacije, ne postoji minimum rank, tako da može se prijavi ko hoće, koji god rank hoćete, kažem, uzmite, igrate, zabavite se, podelite prijave također na što više mjesta, jer u suštini što se više ekipa prijavi, to je veća šansa da će opet biti neki turnir u nekom formatu. Tako da kažem, delite na sve strane, podelite društvu, takmičite se i međusobno. Ja znam, kažem opet, imali su me neke i bijale ekipe, i bijali igrači, tako da znam da će biti i, da kažeš, nabadača, ali opet kažem, i tamo onaj sistem će automatski da rangira sve to, tako da na kraju možda se svi nabadači pokulju međusobno, a s druge strane neka ekipa dobije free win do lana, nikad se ne zna. Tako da kažem, mislim, bit će zabavno, ja se samo nadam da ćemo malkice doživimo e-sport na Balkanu sa svim ovim. To mi je najveća želja. Mislim, za LoL su već krenule prijave jako, za Counter polako kreću. Šef je 128. A mislim, 128 je baš streč. Nije nemoguće, uzet ću obzir da nema ranka, nema kotezacija. Ali... Ali da, eto, to nam je max, jer sve preko toga bi bilo... neće svaki imit streamu, ne. Sve preko toga bi trajala bi 2 dana kvalifikacije. A to ne želimo. Vremenski, samo nema vremena. Kažem, možda drugi turnir, ali prvi ne.
Wow. And the problem is they're now on recall for when Fnatic are actually doing the play to top lane. So, top lane Terra falls.
Yeah. So look, look, you got the Baron, and the Baron and that entire sequence of play evened the game up. What's given Fnatic the lead now is the sequence of fights, is the extra gold from the Baron. Not that they got much else after that.
Pa, kako misliš, šefe? Misliš kao da će biti teže za counter? Ja mislim da će biti teže za counter isto, da. Jer generalno counter, mislim, counter ko counter da je Dolana je best of 1. Counter ko counter generalno mislim da više ima ono Bugara, Rumuna i tih kao van Srbije. Ako na to misliš i ja mislim da će LoL ići lakše nego counter, da. Jer ono, LoL imamo i veliki community i sve to, tako da što se LoL-a tiče misliš da brže se puni mnogo. Ako na to misliš. Iskreno, Kevine, da te ne slažem, ja ne znam. Jer taj deo možete vidjeti na sajtu, iako je dole ono Shine TV, moja prava i to, taj deo dole rešava Vilenark. To je ekipa koja radi Gamescom i radi neke druge stvari, neke druge lanove u Srbiji. Tako da, to je njima sve dato da se bave s tim, jer ja niti imam vremena, niti želim s tim da se bavim. Tako da što se toga tiče, ja sam full ono... Mislim da me ne stiš pokušati, ne želim je znam kako to radi. Nek radi kako oni naprave, kako se to radi normalno. Ja ne želim s tim da se bavim uopšte, iskreno, znaš. Tako da ne znam kakav oni sistem tu imaju, preko challenge moda ide. Ako je neko igrao na challenge moda, možda znate kako se to tamo radi. To je ono što sam rekao, znaš, mislim da svako treba da radi ono što radi dobro. Ja nemam veze s tim administracijom i tim, tako da ne bavim se s tim uopšte. Ovdje se naputiti Tagano 128, ja sam i drugo Ergo ima 6+, ekipa pravi spove 300. Pa to ti kažem, ja mislim da će LoL biti lagan. Sa LoLom se možda dogodi da se prepuni, u smislu da moramo zatvaramo prijave. Za counter ne verujem, iskreno. Mislim će counter, kao što si rekao, biti malo teži. Ja bi trebao večeras posle Leca da snimim najavu, sutra da je pustim, tako da mislim da sutra kad budem pustio, ja sam rekao ljudi s mog streama imaju full prednost. Tako da, mislim sam dao svima priliku da se prijave sa streama, tako da sutra prekostra ide na Instagram, ide na TikTok. I onda će to da krene da se širi. Ali rekao sam, prvo prednost ljudi sa streama kogod hoće da igra. Jer mislim da je fair, ja ga organizujem to. Mora preko veze da se puste ljudi. Tako da sutra pre podne će da ide prijava zvanično na Instagram, na TikTok. I to je to onda.
Dragon now in a few seconds. It feels to me like Fnatic kind of just now get to start that slow turn where the pendulum's coming back in their favor. Shifters don't have the position on the map to really threaten anything. Like, they're trying to look for this push in the top side and put the threat on Sobro, but he only hatches to catch the wave here. Yeah, which is where Dragon is now gone and everyone on Fnatic can now cover.
And look, they have Tristana. Like, they can kill Baron relatively fast on Shifters, but they just don't actually have the time or the prio to clear out all the vision, because they don't have mid-prio. It'd be one thing if you had mid and top, right? Then suddenly Fnatic feel like they have to respond, but...
Well, you've also got Nocturne, Rise, like, you have so many members that show up so quickly, even if you do try and take it fast. So, I don't know where the options are for shifters, and I love the idea of this composition from shifters, where they were like, hey, let's try and play on the map, let's very quickly try and move around. But we're starting to see the problem again that we were talking about earlier, which was Paduk is now level 14 on the Talia. He's the lowest out of any of the carries on any of the teams. The Talia just isn't doing enough at this point in time, and while Nuke did get off to a good lead, he's not really having that big threat. At least with IE completed, he can be a nuisance in these fights. But not a Fnatic close on him.
Lights turned off, Engage coming in, down goes Paduk. Public execution using the backline, unstoppable, not unkillable, however, as Fnatic realm warp in, trying to keep the fight going. Vladdy gonna get stunned up. Rooster able to try and dissuade Fnatic from following, but Upset is so damn powerful. Force shot on to stand. Deadly Flourish, a nice sidestep, keeping things in their favor. Razork walking up, Upset now unstoppable as he manages to take down Stand, and Fnatic can just turn right to the Baron.
Yeah, easy pickup on the Baron going to be for Fnatic. Really great job on the Engage, and like this is what I think Fnatic have been so good at over the last couple of series, being decisive in their engages. Like the immediate TP from Sobro, Fnatic.
A ne znam sve šefer, to je preko maila.
It's everything functioning as a unit so well, and shifters unfortunately just are being over by Fnatic at this stage.
Može Legend, može kako god, može i pre, može i posle. Ja ne mogu da verujem da je ukrao. Vidi, 4K su bili ahead, izgubili su Barona, sada joj mogu da trtlaju. Kevine, da, mora. Ali nije to, mislim, to imaš fore do turnira da napraviš. Ali trebate napraviti, to je minut posla, bukvalno.
But I still think like Fnatic should have the composition at this stage and like the late game scaling through the Embessa to just force plays through side lanes and really put the hurt down.
Yo, but shout out Sheo. Can we get a replay of that Red Bull Baron power play steal? I'm just asking things to the void. Maybe that's not what we're supposed to do. But sometimes, Rob, I want to see things again, and I need to see why that Baron. I've been told the observers are cooking. Thank you, observers. Let's take a look. How did it go from 4,000 down? Because everyone knows, just stop hitting the Baron, right? We all know it. Razork can stop hitting entirely. Almost a sixth sense.
They've all stopped.
Oh. E. Big auto hits it. Spell flux makes it.
Nije, čak nije ni Q bacio. Bukvalno, ja sam mislio da je bacio flash u mesto, mislim, dobro, probao je.
Which made that a little unfortunate.
Well, Sheo, that's a good steal. A little bit of redemption for a 0, 6, and 8 Pantheon. And I will say, I did really want to see him play this champion. I do think he had a much more active early game, but it's not been a good one. Speaking of not a very good one, Paduk running for his life, but look at that jump chase! Look at that little wiggle, it's the cutest thing I've ever seen! Not for Paduk, though, he's dead. We're gonna need to see that one again too, observers. You've offered me this power and I'm not willing to give it back. I need to see the wiggle.
Oh, Paduk, that's so sad.
Iskreno kasteri se zabavljaju, respekt za to, chilluju ga na maks. Nuke nije teo da skoči, jer ima Guardian. Problem je što... Upset mora flash ovdje. Ništa, sad bežite. Ne bežite. 2 killa. 2 killa. 1 kill. Ja ne mogu. Ali ovo je toka bronz fijeste, ja nemam reći. Znači ja bukvalno reći nemam. Ne, oni grifaju samo. Oni full grifaju u fazonu su, evo vam show. I dali nam show. Neka, iskreno neka.
Fnatic find their way back in the mid game, punishing some of those overextensions from shifters. I mean, inhibitor's falling. There's still 30 seconds on the top side.
Another engage, decent attempt at the flick from Paduk, but now that they're on top of him, there's really nowhere for him to go. Fear Tether still connects. Upset goes godlike. Fnatic. The early game looked like it was falling apart, but Razork held steady. As now leverages advantage into those big fights in the jungle. Shifted things back in Fnatic's favor. 8,000 gold to end it. Fnatic take down shifters 2-0. Moving up to a 3.
Ovo je očekivano, da se razumemo. 300% očekivano, ekipa Fnatica, kao što sam rekao, ovo im je comeback arc, ima da se vrate nazad, da budu najjači i da odu na Worlds. SK i sljedeća partija, iskreno pojma nemam šta možemo da očekujemo. Navijamo za Jopu, ali se SK Malkice raspada, koji se također raspada, tako da iskreno nije baš optimalno ni za jednu ni za drugu ekipu, ali pravimo pauzicu, pauzica je nekih 13-14 minuta, ne bude ovako, 15 pauza i vraćamo se nazad sa serijom broj 2, vidimo se odmah nakon pauze, ljudi.
Still so frustrating for shifters because it feels like this was much more in the right direction. A lot of things that they were looking for did work out, but ultimately Fnatic were just that step above. And we're gonna need. I see we're getting Vladdy. We're gonna need to see the goofy Nocturnal production. We're gonna need to see it. I know you might think, hey, a team just got 2-0'd pretty one-sidedly.
It's not like we're going to a break and you can go and watch it back yourself, you know?
Yeah, well, you could watch it back yourself, but maybe the AD will show it to us. I'm not entirely sure. Vladdy is joining them. Let's see what he has to say.
Yes, indeed. All we can say is, Vladdy, du bist gut genug.
Du bist gut genug.
We saw you singing it earlier. Yeah? You like that song?
I mean, I'm just addicted to it, I think.
Really?
We are all mega spamming it in,
it's like a vocal stim.
Yeah.
I get it. It is addictive. Say, we talked about you a lot in the pre-show because it was very obvious that you had really great performances last week, actually a lot better than before. I think that's fair to say. We talked to your performance coach about everything, but I'd love to know from your perspective, kind of what changed, what did you optimize, like how come you feel so much more comfortable now?
Not sure. I mean, I think after we went 0-3, I think I just said, okay, I'm just gonna play the game. That's it. I will just go and play the game and not think about anything else but the game. And I think that's what I'm doing now. And I think it shows that I'm not being nervous anymore on stage.
Yeah.
So how do you on solo queue? Because you played a lot of solo queue and we've been tracking you. And whenever I played that much solo queue, I think it was always because I felt like I had something to prove. Do you feel like it's just... Do you feel like the solo queue mindset shift has really been big for you? Or is it just you don't really view it as a reason why it's changed so much?
Yeah, I don't really see it as a very useful thing, I would say. And as I said before, I think you still get some stuff like to practice some jumps, or I think even side lane, I think you can get some things. I think in the off season by spamming that much solo queue, I think I got better on side, I would say. But yeah, I mean, I've seen people saying that I play too much solo queue, but I'm sorry, it's my job, right?
Yeah.
Like, if you don't play solo queue, then I don't know. Like,
We're hearing mixed opinions then, because I think Odo said that you were playing also other things and that's good, but you seem to think that you should just be spamming solo queue, right?
no, I'm not saying you should spam solo queue, but I'm saying even if you play a lot of solo queue, I think it's still good to do. It's still the game you are playing. Obviously, it's a bit different, like competitive-wise, it's different, right? But it's still the same game.
Yeah.
So talk to me a little bit, because I noticed something you said. You feel like you've become better at playing side lane from solo queue? Is it just because you're pressuring deeper on side, you're shadowing more? What exactly are the concepts that you think you got better at on side
I mean, as
laning?
you said, I think I'm doing all these things. I think I'm not dropping waves.
Yeah.
Like people just push one wave, they're like, oh, okay, the side wave is neutral, so I will just go with the team and just press S and not do anything. But I think there are certain timers where you can push more, for example, if you have vision or if you think you can do so. And I think I did it better in solo queue in the off-season.
Yeah.
Hey, nice to see. About this game, Finn, you want to talk about the globals, I think?
I mean, I didn't really want to talk about the globals, because that was mostly for shifters, because they had a lot of globals. It felt like no matter where you were, there was either a Pantheon ult or a Nocturne ult. Does that shift how you play the game? Do you always have to stay super mindful of that, or is it kind of scary?
I mean, I think you could see in the first game that they were grouping so much.
Yeah.
And obviously when we saw that they have so many globals, we knew that, okay, they will still do the same thing probably, just look to overload and group a lot on mid, but we should pay more attention this game on side because they have the Pantheon ult, as you said, the Talia ult, so obviously it changes a bit on how we play on side as a team.
Because it's tricky, you know, when you have a side lane comp, because you have Nocturne, you want to play side. But they also have super easy ways to attack you on side. You have to be very precise. Is it something you're communicating with your jungler, or is everyone kind of doing their own thing?
I mean, I think it's a mix, and as people saw, this game was very messy because I don't think we did very good, and I think it's a hard comp to execute, especially if the enemies have globals as well. So, yeah, I think we just need to get better at this kind of comps.
Do you want to look at the Baron, Vladdy? Because whose mistake was it? We'll get it up on screen. It seemed like it should have been yours no matter what, but somehow Sheo got in there. So let's see.
Break it down, Vladdy.
Yeah, break it down.
Here we are saying, guys, like we knew at 9k, we already knew that Pantheon is gonna ult.
Yeah.
So we are saying, okay, let's not hit it, which we didn't. But the issue is that Noxur has the AoE damage. I have the AoE on the Q, like when I Q him. And the thing is, if I don't Q him, no one is gonna kill him.
Yeah.
Eventually, like if we don't,
But you said you knew at 9k.
Yeah.
The Baron was 4k there. So what happened there?
I mean, we probably thought we can keep it at 4k, let's say, or 5k, and even if he ults, we will still have the time to kill him, but it turns out we don't.
Yeah, I guess that.
It's actually interesting because we talked a little bit about how you seem to be, as a group, reacting more positively to things that happen in game, even if they don't go your way, and I feel like this would be a great example. So tell me a little bit about how you reacted to that, even though it didn't go your way, and in general, do you feel like there's a more positive atmosphere?
I mean, I think we were very confident still. Like even when they got the Baron, I was like, okay, it doesn't really matter. We can still do our own thing and push sides deep because they are not playing side lane. And I think we were still ahead even when they got Baron. Like I could see items wise. So I was saying in comms, guys, it doesn't matter if we see them on mid or on side. We can still just send it and look for a fight.
Our key player of the series was Razork, who is having, a generational run. Really, Finn, you were surprised. You were like, what's happening to this guy? He's so stable every game.
I mean, I was impressed game 1, because he's playing Jarvan, and he's the only guy going in. So if he does a bad engage, it's really hard for the Yone, the Rumble, the Abnab to follow up. But I think he had a really good game 1, and even this one, in his Nocturne game, he was kind of 1v9. He was the only guy being ahead. Okay, you saw it.
I have to say, he was only farming and not doing anything else. So of course, if the team does everything for you and then you just farm enemy camps because your laners are winning, of course you're gonna get 3 levels up, and then okay, you're gonna ult eventually and kill them all because you are just too OP after farming the entire game. So not deserved MVP.
Who's the
Not
MVP
deserved.
Then? Who's the MVP then?
Stole it.
Probably Soboro.
Soboro,
maybe.
Really?
Yeah, I think he played pretty solid.
Okay.
He got a bit griefed, I would say.
Yeah.
Game 1 or game 2?
I think game 2, yeah.
Before we go to break, there's something that might entertain the current crowd here, but Nukes Tristana is like a famous pick, and he was 6'6", but now he's 6'7" through this loss, Vladdy. What do you think?
I mean, it's a great number, I have to say.
Yeah.
It's probably the best number, 6'7".
It is.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that he did pretty solid here, but as I said, I think they are struggling. Maybe they're side laners mostly, but maybe it's a team thing that they are struggling on side. And Tristana, especially with Pantheon, I think you really need to play on side, push a lot, or even look for picks on side. And I don't think they managed to do this properly.
Thanks for explaining. We just showed it because of the meme for you, but I respect it that you still explained it. Thank you so much, Vladdy. Congratulations to 2-0 for Fnatic. And when we come back, can MKOI do the same versus SK Gaming, who are down in the dumps currently?
Nice song. Oh,
Eager public execution, a good start to the play. Sobro has to flash away in anticipation of what's coming, but Paddock from Paddock keeps the fight going, and Rooster in the midst of the team doing a hell of a lot of damage. Nuke allowed to free fire for a moment. That's the reset. Looking to bounce across the entire team. Flash forward. One more auto. Another reset, but he gets knocked out of the sky. The claws of Razork seal the deal. Oh! Oh! Skeet shooting in the bottom lane. That duck ain't going nowhere.
Incredible play there from
that was incredible. You love to see it.
Right, yeah, let's really
What a move! He's just so good. I mean, the persistence, the patience to find the angle. You just don't see that from rookies. He's got it all. He's got the pizzazz.
Have a break. Have a Kit Kat.
Ooh, that looks good. Do you want to maybe share a little bit? Yeah.
What a move!
Red Bull gives you wings.
When I was a player, if I was to like make a misplay, maybe it's my mouse, maybe it's my armrest, something feels wrong. If you were at home, you wouldn't do that.
The Infinite Precision Armrest is part of the larger Superlight on Stage standard initiative, aimed to bring your home or training room settings to the tournament stage.
이제 저뿐만 아니라 다른 선수들도 세팅을 더 원활하게 할 것 같고
가장 편안할 때 더 강력한 플레이가 자연스럽게 나옵니다.
Welcome back, everybody. It's time for Movistar Koi versus SK Gaming, and there are some huge stakes for this match. So, if MKoi sweep the series, meaning if they win 2-0, then SK will be the first team eliminated from playoffs contention. On the opposite side, MKoi really want to sweep the series, of course, and pick up any ways they can to raise the odds that they make it to their top four. Their road trip to Madrid in the top four. But as you can see now, in the remaining scenarios calculated here, in only 8.88% of those they get top four. But you say, Odo, this might be fake data.
Okay, so when you're looking at these scenarios, you're also accounting for all the teams who have still they can get to 6 wins. I'm looking at Fnatic, for example. That's why they're so high in the standings, even though they're 3-3, because MKoi is capped at maximum of 5 wins. But their last remaining games for MKoi, and why I think that they will make this top 4, is SK today and Team Heretics. When you look at the other teams, you have this incredible battle when it comes to middle of the pack. You have Navi, GX, Fnatic in a fight to the death, and that's why for MKoi they have an easy way to make their road trip.
The really big thing for MKOI is really salvaging their game score. They've had a really messy start to the season, so they really want to come away with 2-0 wins against SK and Heretics in the future to really make it.
And SK desperately needs to win a game if they want to stay in the race. Let's hone in on a singular matchup for our focus, Yopa versus Supa. I think that is the one that we'll be looking at. Supa having some incredible performances, a pentakill also just last week, and Yopa, the beacon of light.
I mean, Joppa is the carry of SK. He's the main beacon, as you highlighted, Shox. But for me, Supa has really stepped up now. We see this really mechanically intense pentakill by him, just absolutely styling on Kai'Sa, which I think is his signature pick. And he is really the player to watch for me from MKOI, because going up against Joppa, you need to shut him down in lane and make sure Joppa doesn't have a free game. Because actually, just look at Jodipin flashing from the Skarner here, giving the penta. That's a team spirit we need from MKOI, and a team spirit they have shown now as they're ramping up for playoffs.
Exactly. This is the volatility I like from Supa, because we see him be so inconsistent, but when the Kai'Sa comes in and he has a great performance, he pops off. And as you said, Finn, if there's one guy on the side of SK who can stop MKOI in the road to top 4, is Yopa.
Yopa versus Supa, MKOI versus SK Gaming to stay alive in the playoffs race. Here we go.
Thank you very much, Shox. Here we are for our second series today. You heard it, the stakes are sky high. A 2-0 for MKOI means elimination for SK Gaming. Playoffs contention, week still left to play. Gonna have to see how it unfolds. I'm still Draco, Sim is still dagged up, standing next to me. And I got out of my chair, but they're not even show us on camera, Rob.
I know.
Going back to the comfort of my chair until the game demands my joy and excitement, and it might. So I have a feeling that with everything on the line, SK might get a little freaky with the draft.
I'm curious to see what they are going to bring to the table, because especially against Movistar Koi, you kind of have to bring it all. They have had a little bit of a rough time, but as you heard the Des talk about, last week was incredibly impressive from the Movistar Koi boys, especially Supa in that bottom lane. Every time he was left alone in the 1v1 against Sam D, he absolutely popped off in that series against Navi.
Yeah, just solo killed him. We'll see if it's a similar story or if they're locked in that 2v2. A lot less support roaming. You highlighted it beautifully, right? Patch changes working as intended for old Paparito. The mages trimmed it back a little bit, and the supports, well, a bit more lane locked, at least for the first few levels. But now we'll need to see what the focus is as we enter picks and bans. I'm guessing Nocturne. Gonna get banned. And I'm guessing that because I can already see it on my screen, even though you can't. Cassio, the next ban. We'll get it all up in front of you shortly. The coaches.
Yeah, imagine the Vi as well. Just the respect ban from SK against Elyoya. I think he's incredibly strong on that pick.
Okay, but context. Rob is actually predicting that. That's not. I just read them off the screen. I could see before you guys. Rob is actually doing analysis work. Orianna, though, so far. So both halves of the Orianna Nocturne combo gone. Obviously, a pretty big pick for JoJo is both the Cassio and the Orianna. So not surprised to see both those banned.
Yeah, I think Orianna is still very strong. We've seen like some people happy to have answers into it, but I think JoJo, one of the players that is the best at bullying on that pick, so not fully surprised to see it ban away. I'd expect the Vi to be the last ban here, because I think it's Elyoya's strongest pick. Like, he always seems to find wins and find like good positions when he's on the Vi.
I evo nas nazad, game broj 2, serija broj 2. Da vidimo kakva je situacija i šta će tu da se izdogađa.
I mean, the Poppy is up, so maybe SK thinking, hey, we can just lock the Poppy into it, but yeah, MKOI gonna take it anyway. And maybe that's where Skeen's like, cool, I'll slam Poppy here, we try and take strong AD carry, maybe even opt in towards our mid laner here and just make sure we're comfortable. Especially with like Orianna and the Cassiopeia and Akali already gone. Victor, yeah, gonna be, or the Syndra, I was gonna say, could be decent answers here.
Okay, so remember when I said
Viktor Jarvan.
Stability is the name.
Mislim, nemaju Oriannu, tako da treba im nešto možda follow up agresiju od Vaja. Nisam siguran šta bi to moglo da bude. Mislim, Syndra Vaja je okej, ako hoće na tu stranu.
That said, curious to see what the follow-up is here, if there's some sort of dive combo pairing. SK, are they going to be in a position where they're so scared of the buy that they need to lock in something like a Xayah, perhaps? I can't imagine it, but...
I think you're ours. I was going to say Ahri could be an option here, like the Vi Ahri, to try and really solidify the dive. Just going to go for the Rise instead. Pretty tanky, can survive decently well against the Victor. And a blind Kled, kind of crazy here, but honestly, there's not a huge amount that can answer into it. It's kind of just a solid blind.
Neće Miriam blindovati Kleda. Chill, casteri. Ne.
The Jace instead. Okay,
Da, chill, bro. Chill, nije Broken Blade, Mirvin je.
What will the answer be?
Mirvin neće blindovati Kleda nikada. Nikada.
Times on broadcast.
Varusa možda,
Will he return to
Kleda
his
nikada.
trick, or will he show us something new?
Could try and go for the vein if he really wants to get spicy with it.
Wonder Vayne. Nope. Okay. Opting for the Rumble. So, a lot of good combos in terms of AoE magic damage. Love seeing the Rumble and J4 together, as we saw in our first series and our first game of the day, Rob. But now, as we enter the second ban phase, what are the prios going to be? Both sides have matched pick and bans thus far.
So I think for what we've seen from SK is that Yop is a big fan of the Corki. So if I was MKoi, I'd probably get rid of the Corki just because it kind of has like the self-peel that you're looking for. Could also be an argument for the Ezreal if you really want to. The only thing is I think MKoi with the draft that they kind of have may actually try and base an Ezreal pick so they can return with the Kai'Sa.
Fanatik igrao dobro, mislim ubedljivo. Prva partija je baš bio stomp, druga partija je bila malo su krenuli loše, pa su onda posle su vratili jako. Nije Klara tu da otvori betting.
Xayah, Corki, probably the bans for MKoi, and then hope that SK go for the Ezreal and you take Kai'Sa.
Yep. Kai'Sa, though, banned away. Something that they do not want to see in the hands of Supa. Obviously one of his signature picks, one of his most comfortable champions. And now debate on what SK are going to take off the board. The answer is the Lucian being banned away. And one more final ban. Let's just trim the 80 carry pool even more.
Yeah.
What else we got?
I mean, Ezreal or Corki, I imagine, would be the last ban here. But you are then putting yourself in a position where you don't have a huge amount to respond. But there's the Ezreal. I imagine Yoppa goes to the Corki. And then we can try and like maybe respond with a mage, but that okay. I was gonna say respond with a mage for Super, like could end up going towards the Ziggs or something.
Ako ovo lokaju SK gubi.
Also not the end of the world into Corki.
Ako ovo lokaju SK verovatno gubi.
Bait here. Okay, Jin be locking. Jin Rumble very
Njima mi se ne sviđa iskreno.
Kind of again keeping MKoi at arm's reach is the name.
Ne za Jopu. Iskreno ne za Jopu.
Like mage could work here if you wanted to try and go for more poke. You could also try and go for the Corki yourselves here and say like, hey, I want decent follow-up here. The mobility as well for the Cataclysm is going to be nice, but they want to go all in on the fight in the bottom lane. This is like one spike item is absolutely insane for MKoi.
No, I respect laying down the Thunderdome. Kalista ever gets on top of any of these champions, it's going to be so hard for them to do anything to stop her. But what is the pairing now? Are you just going to go for the Renata?
I think, yeah. Like, it's still fine, because you assume you could go Jin Karma, at least and try and, like, fight with this at range. But traditionally, you'd kind of want to pair something like the Leona here to try and follow up with the lockdown.
Klara troluje sve lagano. I nije radi nešto sad dole.
So you're kind of going, oh. Maybe not, I was going to say, but yeah, I think you could take the Leona and like Renata then gets the value from it, but if they pivot to the Karma, it's not the end of the world. Like I still think you've got decent push and you still have decent engage with the J4, but we usually see J4 plus some engage support to just have like a secondary tool there.
Well, now we'll have to find out what the final pick is going to be. I assume we're just had an issue with locking in a champion. We'll keep you up to date as we get more official information if there is any to be had. Pause. League officials investigating.
Yeah, so there's an issue with a PC, so we're just going to restart the PC and then the draft as well. So it'll be a little bit of time before we get into it. But
Yep. But I imagine everything remains the same up until that point, as is usually the case.
Yeah, and I think like you kind of already got to see what the game plan was from MKoi. Like they really want to go hard off of let's try and have strong lanes that we can play through, enabling Elyoya to play around multiple points in the map. And that's what we were kind of talking about when he goes for the Void. That's kind of the
Ništa, čekamo pauzu da prođe, ponoć ćemo game da vidimo. Baš nemam nikakvu ideju, iskreno. Ni jedna ni druga ekipa mi nije nešto ubedila ovaj split. Šta? Koji protiv SK?
My favorite version of MKoi was the one that I saw against Navi, which was Alvaro able to roam around, be active in the early stages, like he looked great on things like the Shen. If you end up going for the Renata, less of a big potent pick in that regard.
Yeah.
Now I'm not saying, because like I still think Supa and Alvaro play an exceptional Kalista and Renata, but I still think that like from a team perspective, the cleanest I've seen them is that Navi series, and I kind of was hoping we'd see them replicate it. If they are just going to go for the Renata, less of an opportunity to do so, but still gives them strong lanes.
Yep. MKOI, confirmation production did plan to pick Renata. That was the issue. There's an issue.
Da igraju ovo. Ovo je rezervni LED studio.
So presumably that will be the final
Mislim da je zato što Valorant nešto se događa. Valorant World Championship, šta god. I onda, pošto se Valorant događa, onda su uzeli tu binu za... Da, to je neki Valorant tema, nešto. Uzeli su tu binu valjda za LEDs, ako se ne varam. To je za... Uzeli su LEDs binu za Valorant, to se da kažem.
Yeah, it's a bit of a rough one. Now, that said, you're up against SK, who have been very reliant on Yappa, right? Not that it has won them as many games as they would like, but he's often the guy who's the most far ahead, so I don't mind it as a read against your opposition. But I do think that your read is completely correct. I think all the MKOI fans would agree with you as well. The best version of this MKOI lineup
Bukvalno su u podrum.
Elioja and Alvaro
Baš su ono, baš je budžet verzija. Čak nisu stavili ni ove daske da pokriju ove kompove ispod. I onda vidiš ovako kablove i stolice i sve to, i patike imbleje ispod i sve to. To su bar mogli da zatvore s nečim, kao samo crnu plastiku da su stavili preko.
I still think the buy can be very active in playing towards those side lanes. Even having the rise as well, like having that support with the realm warp can very quickly make plays, I think is basically what MKOI are going for. And the biggest thing I've seen from SK is that they can get outpaced very quickly in the game. If you were just constantly making plays, rotating all the time, SK just kind of lose track of where they're supposed to be. Like, Mickey's not always there to cover a top dive. Skeens isn't always in a position to try and like cover for a counter gank. Like, I think there's a few things like that. So it seems to me like that's the read that MKOI are trying to go for here. And then it'll be a case of, okay, well, how do SK try and cover? Because we were talking about in the bottom lane, your ideal, I think, for like the matchup specifically in the bot lane is going for the Karma. But when I think of Mickey and what he brings to SK, not a Karma player.
It feels like there might be some sort of weird devil's deal, some sort of secret handshake where it's like, look, we both know we both need to roam and be active on the map.
Exactly.
But we're going to agree to be gentlemen and face off in this 2v2 and let the rest of the map sort itself. But Mickey could still go against that. We are just now hopping back into Picks and Bans. Picks and Bans reminder, we had an issue with the PC. The PC was restarted. Champ Select has been restarted. All picks remain the same.
Ok, znači sve radi iz početka i samo čekamo da...
Is the Renata. I don't know if the
da resetuju ceo draft, dobro. Znala je Klara će biti pauza, pa je zato čilala.
The second ban phase. So if you're at a loss as to everything that was locked in, you will see it on your screen shortly. We just need to get to that second ban phase first.
Yeah, I can see them just loading it now. So, working our way through it. But yeah, I'm curious to see because I think SK have definitely in the past in their draft just gone like, screw the 2v2 matchup specifically. We're just going to try and lock in engage for Mickey. So there is a chance here that it ends up being like a rel last pick for SK, and they just go, right, we're going to full send, hope that that'll be enough with like the Jarvan and the Rel for team fights, or even like take the Leona and look for that all-in kill pressure with the Leona and the Jhin, especially if Kalista ever overextends or tries to push that advantage a little bit too far.
Yeah, definitely a huge weakness, not necessarily weakness, a potential weakness that can be capitalized on, not a baseline weakness. I do always get nervous when it comes to the Kalista.
Šta je mislim ko je jači? Mislim da je ko je jači, zašto mislim da je Jojo najbolji midlaner. Jedan od najboljih midlanera u Evropi. Mislim da jedini problem za ekipu koja je Wunder. To je Mirvin. I onda Wunder s druge strane. Tako da ako Wunder nađe neki način da stompa Mirvina, možda SK nešto može da uradi. I opet je Giga dobar, ali da opet je dobio imobil na AD carry. Ne znam što mu daje imobil na AD carry. Predobar je da agresivno igra, da se deša, da pravi play-eve i oni mu daju AD carry-a koji ne može da se pomeri bukvalno.
Try and create an isolated matchup for you, so then you just win through having a good lane matchup. And like Jace into Rumble, you should be able to play relatively well, and the Jace can get advantages there. But if Vicky's going to be on the Bard, that suddenly makes it a little bit more complicated, where he has a decent 2v2, but can also start to roam a lot, which then can influence on the top lane matchup as well. So I think that this game, a lot of it for SK is going to rely on how can this Bard influence both the 2v2 and the rest of the map. And if that J starts to fall behind, I think you kind of start to see the game plan for MKOI drift into dangerous territory where they may not have enough firepower to deal with SK.
Definitely That could be the case. Gearing up now. Remember, the stakes for this game are sky high for SK Gaming. A single win stops them from mathematical elimination. Another game after that. If they go 0-2, then they're just completely and totally outrun.
Yeah, it doesn't feel very good to say, but we're not mathematically out yet. You know, you would much rather be like, hey, we're winning this series, and then adding a few more attempts at getting to playoffs. So for SK, yeah, although the one isn't quite like, hey, we're out, it's not exactly filling me with confidence for SK.
A mislim, u teoriji, ako SK pobedi, imaju isti skor kao koji. Ali ja mislim da ni SK ni koji ne idu na Worlds, ne idu u playoff, ne idu na Worlds. To je bar neko moje viđenje, šta znam.
Yeah, we'll just run it again. Just reminder, just in case you have us muted for some reason. Very rude if you do. So for those of you who cannot hear but can read, this one's for you. Sky high stakes. We'll be checking in on that again over the course of this series, but it is only the laning phase of game 1. I think the thing we're gotta be looking out for, Mr. Rob Price, Mr. Dagda, is jungle and support moving together. Because MKOI have often shown us master classes, and it does feel often like Mickey and Skeens aren't really on the same page.
Yeah, I think at times it has been a little unfortunate where there's been like missed reset timers and that. Still though, I think the versions of SK that we have seen that look good are like early game roams from Mickey, with Skeens being able to support that. And then it's kind of in the mid game where they don't cover a potential dive or someone trying to go for a cross map that comes back to bite them. And especially with MKOI being like still considered one of our top teams, you kind of need to be prepared for that because they're not exactly a team that's going to just like roll over and die. You have to be ready if you do get a lead to fight for all living hell to hold on to that lead.
Yeah, completely agree. SK, debating. Looks like they will be able to grab the cannon in the end, even if Supa and Alvaro try to stall out. Zone them away from a bit of XP. Not surprising to see Supa and Alvaro take control of the early lane, and really I'm looking at Skeens to get active on the map. We know Elyoya would be pretty happy just to trade farm back and forth. Get a quick level 6 under his belt, whereas Skeens, I think, pressure on him to get active.
Elyoya should be the one that at least gets the earlier reset. Push on bot, push in mid. Skeens will have to go top to get that Scuttle Crab or face the wrath of 4 members of MKOI showing up to try and take it from him. You can see he's basically already peeling towards that top side. So it means that Elyoya should get back onto the map a little bit quicker. So we'll see if they can make it.
Vrlo top da vidim, iskreno. Možda zanima što se gore događa. Vjerovatno, pošto ne prebacuju kameru ništa, ali kažem, mislim da je jako bitno ovdje šta radi Mirvin i Wunder. S njima će biti konsistent. Farmovat će dobro, imat će dobru poziciju. I idu Mirvina, smaraju pametno. A Mirvin, brat moj, 0 vardova na topu. On čeka. A Mirvin je samo užasan. Legitimno. Ali ovo je specifičan matchup, oba top lanera su... Mislim, jedan je loš, jedan je vašta.
They had vision to spot out where Skeens was on his first clear on Raptors, so they knew he was moving down towards that bottom side. Skeens didn't show up to contest on towards the Scuttle Crab, so there was always going to be a high chance that Skeens was on that top side of the map, and Mirvin gets caught out. Already, the Rumble step behind.
Really brutal start now. Skeens getting snowballed this early is also can be super devastating. We'll see if this frees him up enough to get more active and maybe invade Elyoya's second camp spawn. But right now, SK, positive little start. A little optimism injected to the start of a very high stakes day. Maybe take some of the pressure off, some of the tension off.
Yeah, especially when the biggest worry for me for Skeens was going to be like constant push in mid, constant push on boss, making it very difficult for him to really kind of get control over this bottom side of the map, or even have Elyoya start to invade on towards his bot side and taking some of these camps. But with that early kill,
Da, gore je kritično, gore je baš kritično. Zato kažem, mislim da je mnogo bitno koji top laner ode ahead. Evo, Claro traži igrače.
Definitely feels like it's the start of something at the very least as Elyoya continues his race towards level 6.
Ja mislim da ja sam sudija, poznato mi je.
A reset now for Skeens, giving a few more items as Level 6 is there first for Jojopyun. Alvaro backing up as best he can with a bit of shielding as Jojopyun does his best to collapse the wave. Maybe a battle for Drake. Drake already started, excuse me. All in on the top lane, though, is Mirwin. Level 6, Wonder the one who got that support, and Wonder the one now running for his life. Shock Blast, we're not even going to look top. It doesn't connect. Wonder just barely able to take over level 6, but that's first Drake for the side of MKOI. Reset timing for Skeens, I think, had him arriving a little bit late to that one. Didn't quite see what happened.
I think he's just full clearing. That was all. Like, kind of knew was like, we, again, don't have push on mid, don't have push on boss. There was never really going to be a
Wunder ima ult, možda ulta sljedeći vepa da reseta.
I think nice from EULCS to basically set up his
Mislim da je to... Mislim da je to okej skroz.
So assuming the Scuttle Crab take top, EULCS now making a play on boss.
Mickey, nice sidestep. That's going to be crucial. Manages to get through. Pulls EULCS in with him, but he's not quite under the tower. Yappa forced away.
Yappa.
SK overall still losing flash
Uvek
and heal in exchange just for the exhaust of MKOI.
Nice timing window there by EULCS. Basically confirming Jarvan was on top side and saying I can full send on bot lane. So making Yappa way more vulnerable to a level 6 gank when EULCS does tick up to it. Mirren though still has to be a little bit careful because he knows the Skeens is going to be on this top side. You've got both Alvaro and EULCS now moving to defend the top side, but Crab, blue buff taken, but at least Alvaro is here to defend a potential play against Mirren on the top end.
Jojo going to see if he can punish in the meantime, or at the very least keep as much information on Skeens as they can. Eyes still, though, are locked on the bottom side of the map. Yappa going to be very vulnerable to future plays. You highlighted it so well, but also when there's a Renata there with the bailout, it just makes those aggressive tower dives so much easier for MKOI. We are still getting roaming, though, and I do like that. Random Hex flashes from the Renata support. Alvaro doing the best he can to make sure that he can get out of the spot lane 2v2 as often as possible, as is Mickey. This is
needs to be a little suspect because Vi should be in that area. You kind of know she's going to be clearing top towards bottom side. The other person I keep my eyes on though is Skeens. Potential to immediately go in towards that top side because of the way he cleared Raptor's red into Krugs. Mirren still has flash. There's the ward that goes down. But if you can manage to get the flash and then the Cataclysm after, sets up for some more ganks top lane.
Ooh. Nice sidestep on the first overload. Now going to ulti just to clear the waves. Jojopyun has so much pressure in this mid lane matchup. Keep in mind, Slowq already burned the TP.
Dive bot lane.
Dive bot lane looking good. Yappa level 6. Vi on the way in. Realm Warp is there. He's doing what he can to clear the way. But again, the bailout is there. There's really just nothing that can be done. Alvaro beautifully tanking the tower. Quick, clean kill pickup from MKOI.
Mickey flashed in the hopes that he could get the Cosmic Binding through Jojopyun onto Alvaro, but not to be the case. And that pressure from Jojo spilling over the bot lane into
istina.
That it is. MKOI not going to opt for the redive, instead resetting, knowing that Supa alone will be able to grab this plate without much support. Alvaro does in the end opt to stick around as EULCS is still powering through that jungle clear, and it's really only Skeens with an advantage on the side of SK as Supa really starting to pull ahead. 20 CS advantage on top of the kill. Oh, Mickey. No, that's... that.
False confidence with Skeens taking the red buff. I think they lost track of Alvaro or EULCS a little bit, and Mickey pays for it there. Didn't have any sort of support. But Skeens got red, so jungle happy.
That's a 1.3k gold lead for Supa. And it doesn't matter because he pushes the wave out and immediately resets, so now he gets to spend that lead. Already has static. Hold that thought, because at least they're going to be able to get something done in the mid lane. Never mind. Whoa! That is a devastating sequence of play. Really good flash from Jojopyun.
Yeah, Skeens looked like he... I don't know if he held it, but based the CC long enough that he wasn't able to get it afterwards anyway. So the Cataclysm never used. Jojo barely escaping away from that one. Mickey barely escaping away from this
Again,
one.
Playing with fire, but Supa just goes over the wall, starts to chase. Slow there, binding does connect. Alvaro used the bailout to give that extra movement speed to Supa. If the binding had not hit, it likely would have been a kill.
But Mickey getting caught means they can't really contest the Void Grubs either. Now Slowq might be caught.
Flashback. Garrity Field once again. Supa is the boogeyman on the Rift. Has held on to his own flash. But now it's only Wonder and Yappa. Well, not even Yappa. Yappa's flash isn't even up yet. So MKOI running the map. And SK really quickly running out of space to play with. Okay. Skeens. Little loosey-goosey there on that buff. Alvaro, nice timing, but wasn't able to steal it.
They can't really make the play on the bottom side though. They got spotted, Alvaro and Supa moving down to cover Jojo, so this play is kind of dead for SK.
They are spotted out by the Scryer's Bloom there. SK on the back foot, always responding to MKOI's pressure. Now rallying mid lane, try to make a play here perhaps. Tempered Fate available for Mickey. Drake instead could be the center of their attention. They did push out bot lane.
I think Supa's too low for him to really contest this. Mickey gonna spot
Imaš ga, verujem u tebe.
Alvaro, nice backstep from Supa. Handshake back, Mickey likely.
Ok, Miki. Ne, kupuje vreme, Miki je mrtav sigurno, zna da je mrtav. I Supa je živ sad, da. I sad će da umre. Supa! Zašto je napao Rapture? Ok.
It is a shutdown in favor of Slowq. It might have been the Deathfire touch, I'm not sure.
Ne, Raptori su gojeli.
Curtain call shot from Yoppa, and just enough of a burn to finish off Supa. Still though, like Mickey's playing so aggressive on this Bard, and it, like not going for the Locket build means you are significantly squishier, not having either the Cloth Armor or the No Magic Mantle to survive. And you can see here Mickey, like, sure playing with fire, thinking I've got that Tempered Fate to keep myself safe, but Slowq ends up using that stun onto Alvaro to try and prevent the follow-up. But there you go, yeah. Actually, yeah, a bit of both. Deathfire touch, the Raptors, both working together. But still, like, Mickey just playing that little bit too far forward there.
Yeah, and you can see, at the very least, the potential of the bailout to save Supa in that situation. Just barely are SK able to scrape away with that kill. Gold even, Drake's now even. Mirwin may need to respect here, but Mickey has given him a way out to the skies.
That could have ended significantly worse for Mickey. If he got knocked under the tower a little bit more, like the to the skies, the second tower shot, Mickey might die.
Yeah. Look.
And they lose bot tower.
And they lose bot tower. Mickey is trying a little bit too hard to make these plays. He's taking a lot of risks that just feel a bit unnecessary. I love an aggressive support as Jojopyun now in trouble. Sidestep not nearly enough. Yop was able to grab that kill. So another kill on a Jojopyun. Things aren't actually too bad for SK if you ignore the giant gaping hole
behind now.
That is Supa in the bottom lane. 1.7k advantage. Can they find this shutdown? Skeens finds the knockup. Good follow through. Mickey on the chase. Supa will finally fall. Yopa hoping to find the kill. It'll instead go to Wonder. And the gold's just even now, except for Mirwin's now grabbing something else.
Yeah, so MKOI are still getting their pressure on the side lanes, but at least SK getting some kills, getting a little bit of gold back, especially for someone like Wonder, try and help him out in this matchup. But this has turned into a bit of a crazy one, especially because I liked the play from Yoppa and Slowq, right? Give up bot tower, so then, hey, we're just going to group on mid and make the play happen on Jojo. Great call, right? Because you know with Mickey having gone top, you can't really defend the bot lane tower. But MKOI are still getting towers, still getting map pressure. So even though the gold is even, MKOI still have more of the map now to play with.
That they do. And it feels like SK have been a bit over-eager in the chaos. They've been able to trade something back, but MKOI still holding on to that massive lead for Supa. Quickly approaching his second item. Yoppa trying to circumvent this by skipping boots 2. Skipping over that upgrade, racing towards his next big item. May just sit on BF for a little while. But the gold is still dead even. MKOI though with 3 grubs is gonna start to add up in the side waves.
But also you've got like already the map kind of set up for MKOI. This slow push here coming out from Jojo, right as you're going to see Rift Tower come up, means that he can then drift up river and then Realm Warp into the play if he needs to. So MKOI already kind of setting themselves up for this next objective, whereas SK now basically trying to overload mid, it looks like, at least with the Victor movement, because they don't think they can actually try and match the push from the Rise.
Mickey in a decent spot, but they have no vision in this rush. Mickey, handshake back. Immediately just going to look to one-shot him. Mickey, good magical journey to stay standing. Okay, MKOI's vision advantage.
Baš fiesta od partije.
HP, as well as his flash.
Baš fiesta od partije.
And we'll see what the World Atlas turns into. It turns into Celestial Opposition. No Bloodsong Bard today, which, frankly, I think is the right choice.
Mislim da mora da igra, da. Mora da igra Celestial.
But you can see there, this is what we're talking about, right? The slow push set up from the Rise in the bottom lane. MKOI start to drift over towards mid. They can get a little bit more turret plates. And they still have this push on bottom side, right as this Rift Herald is about to spawn. So Jojo at any point in time can start to move up and have that Realm Warp just about to spawn as the Rift Herald does to match up with the rest of the team. So SK kind of dropping side lanes, it looks like, on top side to have... Oh, I thought they were having this drop on top side to move the Rumble over, to actually shift everyone to attack Jojo on the bottom side and give up the Rift Herald, but not going to be the case. Instead, they're just going to send Wunder back towards the top half of the map. And MKOI should be in a position with the wave states to move over towards that first objective.
Eyes laser locked on that Drake. Really hard to match. Supa's wave clear in the mid lane. You can see Yappa losing about 40% HP just for the trouble of trying to clear that mid wave. Now SK do have some really good setup. The Tempered Fate into a Cataclysm or Equalizer. It's easy to see how SK could win a fight. But will they be able to execute? Mickey continues to play very far forward. Jojopune not winning out on the short trades is very good for SK. Slowq holding his own pretty well.
Kako misliš? U Let's? Ne, super ranije bio to. I opet došao posle Supa, ako to pitaš. Supa je igrao sa istim rosterom, jedina razlika je bila midlaner. Igrali su Mirvin ili Supa, Alvaro i Freskovi. I onda su benchovali Freskovija kad su doveli Jojopuna. Ali taj roster igra je dugo zajedno jako.
Are fine with this. They're just going to now try to take everything.
Yeah, SK are giving way too much space towards MKOI. Especially if they can start to have multiple positions as Mirwin. Losing the 1v1?
The 1v1. Overheat is really well timed from Wunder. Mirwin flashing out of that one. Wunder, E-flash! Solo kill for Wunder! 2-0-1.
I to je ono što vam kažem, top lane ekstremno bitan.
Still, you needed something there for SK. They weren't in a position to try and contest for the Dragon. So at least Wunder getting a kill on top, pushing a wave, maybe get a plate as well, creating a point of pressure. Because the rest of SK are nowhere to be seen on the map.
Yeah, let's be clear. That wasn't a cross map. That was individually Wunder making the most out of an situation, an isolated situation. This wasn't a calculated play from SK. This is just Wunder recognizing a window of opportunity.
Oh, Mirren, the two the sky is missing. And that's all the Wunder needed. Knew that then he had the all-in potential. And just goes for it, yeah. Mirren not connecting with the burst.
Čeka W, flash E I to je to. Up.
Nice little wave movement you heard. E-flash in.
Eto I Caster ovdje radi na Maimunu, ne samo u IBL-u. I opet je bio u LFL-u, Vitality bio. Vitality Akademija. A Shy Carrot je bio u kojoj akademiji? Ili ti u Mad Lions akademiji ili šta god.
MKOI get mid, they just took top tower. Jojo's getting even more plates. Like, that was a brutal fight.
That it was, Rob. SK trying to hold on here. Mickey still running up. And in this case, trying to cancel backs, I understand it.
This is be careful, though.
Yeah, look, Mickey Bard, 14-7. There's a reason he picks it up. He is goated on the Bard, historically. Presently, he's 0-3 on SK with this Bard pick, so quickly moving towards 0-4 if they can't turn this one around.
The way that you want to play this Bard is you are not in the front line, and then you either ult the follow-up from the buy, or you ult the person...
Mislim, ovdje nema šta, Mirvin Grifa s jedne strane. Da Japa im je baš, ne... Slažem se skroz sudija.
He is not tanky, despite the Celestial opposition. We said he's gone for the early Mikhails, which even then, a little weird here, I will say. Like, obviously, with the cleanse not on Yappa, you're a little bit more worried, but I still think the Locus value is still pretty high. If you do want to play up that far, if not, sure, play back, and then like use the fact you are squishier to not be in harm's way.
Oh, all in on Mirwin here. Tower turned off for a brief moment. Power, the Tempered Fate binding connects, and Wunder grabs another good side lane pick for SK as they try to shift things back in their favor. Yeah. Jojopune already pushing in top wave though, and now MKOI perhaps looking for a counter punch. 4v3, they're going to go in anyway. Elioya about to fall for that one. Does manage to flash out. Curtain call coming in. Shutdown is there. MKOI did not do the math. Fist fight breaks up between SK members. Likely this bot lane is going to fall now. All 5 members of SK are here. Excellent handshake.
Dobar handshake. Jako dobar.
Jojopune is still pushing.
I think SK, though, made the right call. Like, you have to sacrifice something. Sure, it'd be the tier 2, and Jojo will get some gold, but you got 2 kills. You get a tower for yourself as well. I think you had to make some sort of play like this, as long as they don't get caught on the punch bag.
Double TP in. No Tempered Fate for Mickey. Super continuing to walk up. Decent chunk. Mirwin now recognizing that maybe he sticked around just a little bit too long. Mickey once again on the chase. Mickey
O, super. Nema reset. Belo tu pogrešno vrijeme.
Rob, what is happening?
It's gone a bit crazy. 1 for 1 though. Super the one dying for Mickey. Take it, I guess, yeah. Yeah.
That 4-death power spike. I will say that
yeah, it's just pick after pick for SK. And then I like this, right? Give up the play on top side, try and do something, and they get the multiple kills off the back of this, which is huge for SK with the position that they're in. So honestly, good job by SK. I think it was the right call in this.
Nope, have to go for the aggressive play here. The one thing I do question is the roam from slow Q. Could have looked to cover that top lane plays, but in the end, him sticking around is what allows his kill on the Supa to come together.
Yeah, I think the fact that Mickey ends up getting this is, at least sets up for it, is perfect. Because Supa doesn't get the bailout in time.
Dva basika, vjerojatno dva basika još za kill.
Still though, SK now set up Dragon in 16 seconds and trying to face check into zero vision. There's actually one ward just beside Dragon Pit, which is giving a ton of information to MKOI.
And I will say it's only a 900 gold difference, 2.5k lead for Supa. If they take Supa out of the equation, MKOI are actually pretty far behind. Second item still not completed for Yappa though, means it's still a pretty excellent fight timing for the side of MKOI.
Opet expedite, kao Nashors, misliš? Pa bio je pre onih Maladi, ali nije nešto bio popularan, tipa osim na timu, eventualno. Ode Supa, nema Belota. Jojo mora naći Ugo, a ne može. SK dobio ovaj fight.
Takes him away, but not before SK find 3.
SK finding the Dragon. I was going to say off the back of it, not convinced they can go for it without having their jungler there. But they'll take the fight regardless. And it starts off beautifully. Mickey connecting on
Mislim dobar ulti od Mikija. Su navatili Supu i Rutu, Rumble ulti i Supa samo ne igra.
Sure, Supa ends up getting one back, but they did the job. And Oyoya, in trying to prevent the follow-up for Supa, ends up going incredibly deep. And Yappa having that exhaust from Mirwin, perfect timer to take a third for the SK roster.
MKOI. Once again, we're straight back to even in terms of gold. It's Jojapun and Supa with these small gold leads, but SK do a beautiful job of laser focusing on the one member of MKOI that they have to be scared of. That said, it did not stop Supa from picking up his third item. But in the meantime, Yappa has picked up an IE. So he's continuing to get more powerful. SK shouldn't be able to contest this one. Going over the wall, though, they found themselves locked up. Ulti now used. Stun has connected on Supa. Mirwin fishing for the flank. Skeen's taken out. Yappa, 3 bullets left, hoping to find something as Wonder's already chunked away. The Dragon still has not fallen. The Dragon resetting. Wonder on a killing spree. All in is Mirwin onto Yappa. You'll be able to find the kill. It is Slow Q and Mickey. A nice stun to interrupt the Vault Breaker. Slow Q not repositioning the ulti for some reason. I don't know if it would have even mattered. Slow Q down. Mickey, the last man standing. Elyoya and Mirwin holding the line. Turning their sights back as Mickey runs to your left. He managed to pick up a chime. Running, sprinting.
There's a Rise on the way.
Vidi ga, i Rise je close. A joj Miki. Ništa, Miki je otišao u kulu, bio je u fazonu, ništa od toga.
And they'll turn back. And finally this Dragon might just fall. This Dragon has seen so much bloodshed around us. But it's MKOI come out on top, and I wasn't certain it was going to be, because as they end up going in for this, it's Alvaro gets caught, Supa with the pullback, but as Supa goes forward to take the fight, Mickey actually gets a good ultimate off, and then gets the stun on the Dragon with Supa, so Supa ends up falling, but Wonder caught by Elyoya afterwards. You talked about them not repositioning the ultimate for Slow Q. That really, I think, would have won this fight. Elyoya dies here, you don't have the CC chain, you can chase off Mirwin, so Slow Q not reposition that ult, I really think came back to bite SK.
And I get it, there's so much going on, it's so hard to see in that moment, but you already got enough resets that ulti is gigantic. You just gotta move it. Frustrating for SK now, 1,600 gold down against MKOI. Reminder, if SK goes 0-2 here, they are out. Eliminated from playoffs contention with a week left in the season. But they've been able to fight back in so many scenarios. The downside is they're so far behind in objectives. And I don't think their composition could come back against an Ocean Soul. As MKOI continue to try and press their advantage where they can. With the Callista on their team, securing Baron shouldn't be a difficult feat.
SK, not quite on the map as fast as they would like to, so mid tower will fall. Nice take from MKOI. Still have Slow Q trying to push for that top lane turret. Mirwin going to be able to respond to that though. And this is where I think for MKOI, this strength from Supa in the mid lane with the 2.4k gold lead and Jojo having constant pressure on the side lane is just going to force SK back that little bit too far, where they can't really contest for some of the side lane picks that we've seen. They had to forego a tier 2 in the top lane to make that bot lane play that swung the game back to give them a chance. But the number of tier 2s that they have to try and make those plays is dwindling quickly. And it could be an inhibitor turret that falls next instead.
Running out of pawns to sacrifice at this position, at this point in the game, and respect to them for recognizing those opportunities where they can give up a side lane tower to get a favorable man advantage or a favorable setup. But a move they've used a few too many times. Supa only continuing to get more powerful.
And still, SK trying to see if they can move into position. I think MKOI are doing a really good job of not basically passing the line that they have. As Miran,
Mickey goes through.
Hoće i Oppo opet. Dobar flash. Renata ult. Ne znam kako nije ko je ovo dobio jače, iskreno. To je kako nije dobio uopšte. Ovdje Renata trebala sama da dobije fight, bukvalno. Mada Supa healuje Rambla iz nekog razloga, da. Pa Terminus ti je u suštini, da. Povestali, pa vidjet ćemo ko nam je tu prvo. Vidjet ćemo ko nam je tu, ali svako ćemo pecuti neke arame za start pa ćemo dimo da li nas ima za goals. Jer kapiram više će nas biti za arame svako nego za goals.
There's no follow-up. Yoppa managing to stay away from the hostile takeover as well means that he doesn't actually kill Mickey. Opens up with a curtain call because the positioning from Wunder as he just wanders up to this fight to find low health members of MKOI. And MKOI's front line has completely disappeared.
Ini, ali Terminus stvarno bije što najjače. Kalista s ovim itemom bi trebala da radi jako dobar damage, jer je Terminus prejak item. Legitimno je prejak item. Ne, da povestili, naravno, ali svako ko nas ima 10 za arame, pre ćemo igrati arame da igraju svi, nego da se nas petorice izdvajamo na gol, s tom je poenta. Zato kažem da vidimo koliko nas ima. Jer bi rađe igrao sa što više ljudi odjednom što možemo. Ali vidjet ćemo svako večeras ko je tu i zašta je, pa ćemo da se odlučimo i delimo. Now SK can fish as much as they'd like. Bit of poke on Jojo. Immediate ult onto Jojo. Running for his life as the curtains have been called. He's forced to flash away, but the ulti resets are still coming. SK are unrelenting. Locket keeping Mickey alive.
It's Miran staying alive that may have just held onto the game, but SK, they want to reset. They want to teleport back in. SK looking to end the game right now. It's going to be a 3v5.
After yesterday's performance, it felt like SK were done. It felt like anything other than an 0-2 was too much to ask for this lineup. But in game one, they have weathered the storm. They have found their way back in. Skeen's almost going to kill Mickey, but the Q still connects onto Alvaro. Root there on the deadly flourish. Flag and drag through. Supa put into the Cataclysm, flashing away as the Nexus is starting to fall. One tower left standing. Mirwin dropping as well. 10 seconds left on Elyoya. The wave being ushered in. SK keeping their playoff dreams alive with a victory in game one.
SK snatching that game.
Može, važi. Pa vidite ljudi, znači kad se sve završi ja ću ući na Discord koji je obično pre, pa ćemo da vidimo kakva je situacija. Ali kapiram, Arami, futbal, imamo onu odbojku što je 3-3. Možemo da probamo da imamo da li valja. Te 3 igrice pa ćemo da se družimo, igrat ćemo nešto već. Svako, pauzica, 10 minuta, vraćamo se sa možda i finalnim gameom, ali ja ne bih rekao iskreno. Ja mislim će ova serija ići 1-1, tako da odnosno na pauzu i tu smo brzo.
I
think our draft is like pretty good, and just playing on range. They only have Vi as engaged, so if you avoid the Vi, it's hard for their carries to hit in teamfights, so we were just playing into that.
Okay, I mean, you needed to win at least one game to stay alive in the race for playoffs. Tell me a little bit about how that went through your mind, because you did it.
Weren't thinking much about it. Was just focused on the game and taking game at a game.
For sure, you can join your team game by game indeed, because if they win another one, then they just beat MKOI, guys. What the hell?
I'm shocked. I'm shocked. It really felt like that was MKOI's game to lose. There is no way you go into that red side jungle and you start the fight out of thin air. It's just everything that could go wrong went wrong.
Well,
they broke all the rules of League of Legends.
But did they though? Because they were ahead. They had a gold lead.
Yes.
They were winning the fight until they weren't.
It's 2026 and MKOI is still making the same mistakes over and over and over again. It feels like no gold lead is safe from MKOI in the late game, and I don't know, I'm just disappointed.
Yeah.
I saw this early game and I'm like, okay, fantastic. Give Super Kalista. Watch him pop off. 1.2k gold up in 14 minutes.
Listen,
What a great early game.
I didn't catch the end of your conversation, but are you going to break down the fight, or should we just watch the fight again? What are we going to do?
Well, I wanted to see the fight, but we can see how they started turning the game around for SK.
This is where the downfall started. It starts with Mirren getting dove on their bot side tower, and it's like, okay, sure, your Jace, who hasn't had the best game, has died. Let's commit every single member to try to save him. And then they go into this fight where Super just starts getting one shot in the beginning of the fight. And it's 2 team fights in a row where your AD carry has given up his lead. And after this, it's a free-for-all. It's a mayhem. It's a madness.
But I want to see.
Are you alright?
Okay, sorry. It looks like I'm going to walk to a TV, so goodbye, everyone.
Okay, bye.
Let's talk about how the hell did they manage to turn that fight. Let's bring up production, because there is no way, again, you break so many rules when you walk into that jungle, and if I would have anything on my screen, it would be great. I don't have anything on my screen, so let's just roll the clip. I'm just gonna point at it because that's just the way we do it over here. So this fight starts over here. Now pause. There is no way, as a team, you think that I will walk into this side of the jungle and everything's gonna be okay. No matter how much gold lead you have, there is no way you can go. So let's keep on going. Let's see how many people from MKOI's team still decide to walk into this choke with all that gold. Okay, Merwin skins perfect EQ out of this fight, but look at this. The Renata ult hits 5 people, but it does not matter because everyone on the side of MKOI, you still cannot hit, you still cannot fight, you cannot do absolutely anything in this fight. So when the fight starts like this and you're just forced to walk into choke points where all the people on your team are the ones with gold and they cannot hit absolutely anyone, why do you have a gold lead if you cannot use it? It was perfect fighting from SK, perfect kiting, but this is the one rule of competitive League of Legends. You do not walk into chokes, you do not walk into places where you have no vision, and you do not keep on chasing once the initial engage fails. You just cannot do that.
I thought the first rule was don't chase Singed. I misread somewhere.
Hey, that was the first rule of League Classic. You do not chase Singed. Things have evolved since then.
I like this. Coach Odo. Is this how you talk to Fnatic when they get into a choke?
I mean, listen, I'm having this spiel at least once a day with pretty much everyone I'm with. It's just, you see it time and time again, because it's this one instinct that you have as MKOI, because you've been in a position where you've been winning the whole game. Your Kalista is unleashed, and probably Super is saying, hey, any fight is a good fight, let's just fight, I want to use my gold lead. And you get a little bit over ahead of yourself, and all it takes is that one int where you're like, oh, we just threw the game.
The gold lead wasn't that big.
Well, at that point it wasn't. Super had 2k, so even though you have this spread out gold on everyone on the side of SK, it doesn't matter because you have one guy that wants to carry, and you saw from that point on, it took 2 minutes to lose the game.
Okay, I'm gonna be a little bit harsh. Mirwin, your Jace was not good.
He did a lot of damage!
Yeah, okay, damage doesn't matter. MKOI constantly sent people to try to defend Mirwin on side lane, and in the end, they just over-invested into this Jace. They could have just let him die on a side wave and make a cross map, but every single time SK was attacking the Jace, all of MKOI just committed to save him, and it just ended up being catastrophic. The early laning phase was bad. He got solo killed. I need to see something else from him in game 2. I can't see Mirwin have another game like this because, honestly, I think it's unacceptable.
I mean, everyone wants to be happy, you know, everyone wants to be a superstar in the game. So one of the things that as a teammate you would do for your other teammates is when you notice someone's getting camped and he's a bit sad, you need to go there and like, oh, I need to help him, I need to make him have a good game. No, just sacrifice him. Super was Thanos this game, just keep on going to his lane.
Yes, it was the final fight. Do you also think it also contributed that there were 2 shutdowns right before that, right? They also find Supa. Again, I think for SK in the situation of the game, I want to commend them specifically for staying in the game as they did, right? They knew where their strengths were. They knew how the team fight should play out for them to win it. And they found critical targets like Supa in fights before that. And when you paint it like that, Finn, it's kind of a simple assignment, right? Even though you're against in gold, even though the pressure is on you, you have one target and one target only.
Yeah, and I think Mickey was the man who constantly was looking for Supa. You know, he went into the main jungle, died. Went into enemy river, died. Went into bot side, died. But the 4th time, the 4th time they actually found Supa and managed to catch him out. And to me, Mickey's relentless tenacity to try to get Supa down there, whether it's a Tempered Fate, whether it's the Cosmic Binding, eventually started up landing, and he was the one that kind of set up the comeback.
He did. Let's talk a little bit about the stakes as well for this one. Do you want to say?
No, I was just completely charmed by how Finn put it up, that wherever Mickey goes, someone dies. And I was waiting to see when it would be the time where Mickey doesn't die, because I was just so compelled by it. But I guess, as you say, Finn, Mickey doesn't make some magic happen. But onto stakes. Oof.
Yeah, I mean, game score is important, and MKOI just lost that game.
And SK, exactly. But now, well, it turns a little bit a wrench in the cog. How is that saying? Anyway, it does screw their plans a little bit to make their own road trip, because again, game score matters a lot. When you have this fight for 4th spot, it might just end up being this one singular loss against SK. Even if they win the series, it might just turn everything around. But it's still on the side of SK. They're so weird, man. You had that game against G2 where it made everyone's hope go to the moon, and now they're having this game against MKOI. Are they back? Can they be back?
I mean, there's one guy I want to give his flowers. I think it's Wunder. I think on this Rumble here, had a fantastic game. Set up from the early gank from Skeens into the solo kill, and was that consistent damage factor. We saw the damage dealt before in that screen. He did so much damage this game, and every single team fight, there was an equalizer on Supa's face, and that pressure had to keep mounting up onto him, because yeah, he was a threat, and I think he had a fantastic Rumble game.
Yeah, and SK, they bring it home in this one game. It would be even better if they win 2-0, and it would be an absolute nightmare for MKOI's chances to make playoffs and to make their own road trip. We'll see what happens when we come back.
Everyone flashing out of that one. Wunder, E-flash! Solo kill for Wunder!
Victor TP ambush. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Victor TP ambush. No flash rumble, no flash rumble. No flash in. IW Supa.
It's not for them to join, okay? It's not for them to join. Look why as well here?
Yeah. Look at this, look at this. Look at this. Hit rise.
Yeah, we can chase, we can chase.
We can go down after.
Yeah, chase them and we have to go for the start.
What's the goal for MQ? I exhaust him. Kill him.
Nice one, nice.
A new champion. Welcome to my shop. You'll need the right build. Choose wisely, because every upgrade brings you closer to the next level. So tell me, how will you level up?
Want to find your fastest server every time? Express like a pro and optimize your connection in one tap. Express in game without ISP throttling. Express and shield yourself from DDoS attacks. Express and choose the VPN trusted by gamers everywhere. Express VPN. Experience gaming the Express way. Fast, stable, competitive. Outplay the world. It's time to Express. Unlock free Hextech rewards, exclusive skins, and more. Scan to subscribe.
The whole room was howling.
Howling? Oh. That's not howling, buddy. That's...
Did you steal the LEC trophy? Okay, you can close.
I lied awake for days, counting all the ways I died. Everything I couldn't save, buried down, still half alive. It's got me crawling in my skin, but no one's coming out to hold me close. Pouring out the gasoline, yeah, I've been making friends with all these ghosts, and I got nothing left to lose. Fight to the future. Choked it down, left a bad taste on my tongue, but my appetite's been growing now. I can see you crawling in your skin, but no one's coming out to hold you close. I'm pouring out the gasoline, so say hello to all my ghosts. I'm sick and distressed, but I'm back with a match, yeah, I'm a boss. Nothing to lose. I'm sinking my teeth in, and I won't let you go when I'm having fun till set fire to the fuse. I'm moving like a shadow. You're walking in my dead zone. Breathing slow, ooh, love the hunt, love the high. Watching life fade from your eyes.
And welcome back to the sound of Ottawamne's voice, or maybe only I heard that because I think
I
of
heard
him
that.
often.
Yes.
As we're getting ready for the second game of the series between MKOI and SK. If you're just joining us, holy hell, you missed what? You missed a crazy one. I'm still not entirely sure that that was real, and we're not all just under some sort of shared dream. But SK, despite falling ludicrously far behind, despite Supa having almost 3,000 gold in terms of his personal advantage, SK managed to win. And now I'm shook because the biggest and most important story coming to the day was SK need to do anything other than go 0-2. And now the story on my mind is, are MKOI going to get 2-0'd?
Yeah, which is not exactly what you're hoping for as an MKOI fan when you're like, hey, maybe this is where we can get ourselves back on the horse. Maybe we can look to get to that top 4. Maybe we can look at getting to the roadshow that is so key for our future prospects. However, SK kind of slapped that down, and whatever Mandela effect we're now going through, there is a 1 beside SK in the win column, and we're going to have to see if they can push that to a 2-0 here as we get into the draft.
And we all know that the win column is the #1 way by which we measure reality. Whatever subjective experiences we all have, the little chit above SK, little tiny filled-in white square, tells us the truth. And they did indeed win game 1. Right at first selection, MKOI have chose second pick. They want that counter pick. SK want blue side, which means easier access to the Baron. And we'll get to see, when they have pick of the litter, what they would like to prioritize. What will the Prio be?
Yeah, interesting to see that they're going for the Pantheon ban. I thought they'd try and look for that as a kind of early jungle rotation. Maybe priority on the Nocturne, or well, with the Nocturne band as well. Like, Sinzel, Nefiri, maybe you're looking two more?
I think angle B, SK Gaming. Time to do, well, they can't die anymore, but it's do or do not.
Doesn't really roll off.
The stakes were sky high in game one, and now that they've won, it's kind of like, well, technically, if you lost here, you wouldn't be mathematically eliminated, but they still need to win a lot. Let's be clear. Kicking off Syndra, though, would be a good look. Technically a flex pick, but for Slow Q, this is a massive, massive comfort pick. Last I checked, it was his most played.
It is.
His career. Nice.
Oh, but also this split.
Also this split. Yeah,
well, if it goes from 5 games on it now. But the Ezreal and the Lee Sin immediately taken on the opposite side. But Lee Sin a little bit more difficult to play into the Syndra. So I'm curious if SK start to build a composition that makes it a bit tough. Things like the Wukong come to mind as well, where you kind of have that opportunity to try and play for making the team fights a little bit more difficult. Ash Seraphine also looking like the likely lock-in. So I like the range and kind of the utility that is offered by both mid and AD carries here.
It's good that you said this split, because you were right. It is not even close to his most played all time. That would be insane. It's obviously champions like Azir. But he does have an 80% win rate over 15 games. So it is one of his best picks. Ash Seraphine, the lock-in here, fully committing to the bot lane 2v2. So if you were skeptical of some of Mickey's playmaking last game, the good news is there's a leash on him now. And he will follow his AD carry around like a good boy, I'm pretty sure.
Really?
No,
it's Mickey.
He's going to do whatever he wants. Which is risky because the opposition, Alvaro, in this case, has locked in the Nautilus, an incredibly proactive playmaker. And so we appear to have returned to a very standard script for MKOI, which is jungle and support are going to link up and do whatever the hell they want, and Super will be on an island holding on for dear life.
I mean, he's been surviving pretty well on those islands against Navi, so we'll have to see if we can find a
Evo nas
similar
nazad.
Joppa, but I do agree. I think
Da vidimo šta se ovdje događa i ko će uhvatiti bolji zalet. Mislim, ekipa SK, kažem, solidan prvi game, tako da...
tent in this bottom side and just says, I'm going to gank over and over again. But with the Syndra in the mid lane, Jojo Pyun going to have a little bit of a difficult time, I think, getting a decent matchup into the Syndra, at least one that wins the push against her in the early stages. So I do think you've got options here as SK to kind of go for your jungle in the next rotation and like still have a pretty good time and just trying to play through strong lanes.
What is the option going to be here, though? Remember, MKOI have access to that counter pick. Imagine they just lock mid lane here and leave pick 5.
Još ću morati samo traku da skinem jer sam dosta hodao, tako da gledam draft i ja dok skidamo u traku.
Jungle.
Seraphine. Syndra top?
Ash jungle?
Okay, you're right, yeah. I'm a little too lost in the sauce here. Silas lock-in, though, incredible with both the Enchanted Crystal Arrow as a pick tool as well as Seraphine's ultimate encore.
Yeah, I feel like this is a pretty difficult matchup for Jojo. Now, I know Jojo is just kind of insane at the game, so probably can find some decent times, but like trying to fish for all ins against Scout of the Week and the poke doesn't seem too hot. Skarner, decent call here though.
Ooh, wait, I feel like the Silas is a soft call out that says, we know you want to blind pick Gnar, and if you do...
Mirroring gets Silas, yeah?
I mean, we get Silas ult, right? Or we get Gnar ultimate from Silas, even if Mirwin can also just go for any conventional answer into the Gnar. Still a lot of stuff on the table.
Yeah, I mean, even just Renegade or something here is not... Ooh.
Oh, they're giving Silas free real estate. They say, we're not worried about it. We're going to pick for our comp. We'll give Silas every good ultimate you can imagine. And now the Olaf locked in the top lane for Mirwin. A lot of pressure on him to perform. We know how impressive and how frustrating this champ could be to play against and how good it will be against Ash Seraphine. You will not be able to peel him, but can you
Mirwin
survive
Olaf.
Yeah.
Walking through the Syndra?
The Syndra and even the like there's a lot of damage on it.
Sviđa mi se Lee Sin zadnjih nekoliko dana, Lee Sinovi su stvarno rade puno posla.
Very much with this composition, like if you do not get some early skirmishes going your way and you end up like having the strong lane with this Olaf, this composition is going to fall off a cliff. And we already kind of talked about Oyoya, I think, needing to try and play around this bottom side to punish Yoppa and Mickey with this Nautilus, especially post 6 if you can. But yeah, this is very much on MKOI. Get control of the early game or go home 2-0.
Very true. All eyes on the early stages of the game. Because that's 4 melee champions looking to make the difference. And an Ezreal backing them up. last I checked, Ashe, if she gets a lead, is pretty good at slowing down the vast majority. Yes, Olaf does have ulti, but the volley gets Olaf to proc his ulti. You're having a pretty good game.
Yeah, I mean, it's also like the Olaf kind of needs to get a lead for a good chase down, but also like when you've got the heals and the Seraphine and like just a lot of burst damage coming through from the Syndra, it is can be a little spicy for the Olaf if he doesn't get that lead.
Definitely can. Jojapyun. He is absconded, but he is not abducted. And Rob, I do feel a bit of pressure on the side of MKOI. Because while at 3 wins, they're not... I think we were all lulled into a false sense of security. Perhaps by Finn
yeah.
is incessant MKOI praising. And in his defense, it did feel like he was right. When we saw Supa get back on the horse, start dominating 2v2s, it did feel like everything was back on track for MKOI. However, a loss here to SK would shift myself at the very least, and everyone except for Finn on the OEC broadcast, back into the MKOI Doomer camp as, ooh, Jojapyun almost goes under tower, but doesn't. That was a nice little trade.
Yeah, especially because they got the lead in the last game, and to throw it away so spectacularly is kind of the heartbreaking one. So now you're kind of like, well, traditionally when we've seen MKOI get leads, they kind of would just blow teams out of the water, and it feels, at least last split. Now we're kind of going back another couple of splits where you could see MKOI get leads but weren't great at playing the map and start to make mistakes. Jojo would get caught out in the galley on the side lane, and these kind of mistakes that were there, right? So it starts to then kind of look like MKOI are walking back some of the progress they made, which doesn't bode well for a team that wants to make it to Worlds and wants to contest with the top in the LEC.
Does not bode well as the hawk shot sent skyward. Will spot out Elyoya, giving him perfect information on where this Lee Sin is moving, letting Wonder know that he's the one that needs to play a little bit more safe. As Jojapyun and Solo Q just continue to trade blows.
Jojo's doing a decent job though getting a push in the lane, which will help out Elyoya when he's going to try and contest this crab in a little bit. There's Wonder push in the top side as well, as Mirren has been doing a decent job of keeping control there. So I think it will actually be Skeens who has to take a trip to the bottom side of the map to try and match the Scuttle Crab take, especially as Jojo went for that quick reset, picked up the Dark Seal, and it's going to need to be matched by Slow Q, so maybe a window for the Lee Sin here.
Small window of opportunity to capitalize on if they can find it. Is Mickey and Yopa, as expected, bounce back here on the wave, going to be able to harass a little bit, maybe disrupt some of what Supa and Alvaro are trying to do, which is farming under tower. And they know Elyoya is topside, or at the very least should be. So this is their window of opportunity to maybe crack a plate or just get a bit of poke down.
I'm curious if Elyoya tries to focus that into topside. Actually, the wave looks like it's just broken for the Olaf. So a potential gank as Wonder cracks that wave back out. The Skeens down the bottom side. Yeah, just going to be able to clear it out. But yeah, I think Elyoya should try and look for a play on Wonder here.
SK opting to use their time to reset as Elyoya debates if there's an angle of attack. Has ward for ward hop over the wall.
Dobro.
Is going to pursue it.
Elyoya.
Comes out from Wonder, likely going to flash here, gets away from the axe.
I flash, to je chill.
Nice early gank for Elyoya. Ghost exchange for flash, very much favoring MKOI.
Yeah, especially if you can try now with Mirren connect with one of the axes. Didn't have to burn the flash, use the Ghost to try and chase down Wonder, so you do have that all-in threat. It does mean Elyoya obviously a little late on the reset, but this is kind of the small things that Elyoya needs to do to set up his lanes for success. So top lane kind of semi-ticked off, I'll say, on the checklist. Now the next one is going to be this bottom side, and especially as this wave is starting to push in, I'm curious how much more time Elyoya wants to invest in the lanes, or if he's just going to go for these full clears.
It's a good question. Wonder still wins out in a lot of these isolated 1v1 trades, especially before first recalls have come in. Mirren needing to reset now. Wonder now Mega likely won't be able to interrupt. No, it does manage to stop the recall there very briefly. But keeping our eyes on when that Ghost cooldown comes up. 2 more minutes and it should be available, and that'll be Mirren also with level 6 at the same timing. So a great all-in window if he can find it. Root into stun there from Mickey. Team Yappa keeping things even in the bottom lane at the very least. Cole for one side, Tyr for the other. So both Yappa and Supa very aware that their job is just to scale up. This is a very quiet throne. We had Mickey low-key inting his face
Dobar,
off.
slow Q sidestep.
And this one is just incredibly chill. Although Elyoya will try to change that.
Iskreno dosta verujem u Lisinove zadnjih nekoliko dana. Sve što sam vidio od Lisinovo zadnjih nekoliko dana su stvari ono, dovoljno veliki diffovi da se opravda pik.
Still has to finish Krugs, go for the reset, try and look towards the bot side. Scuttle Crab is spawning on the top end of the map, and Skeens has the advantage on push, so I think should hit the level 6 first as Alvaro.
Forced to hook out to safety. Nice little trade there from Yappa and Mickey X.
It actually might have saved them as well, because Yappa and Mickey, like, by forcing that means that Alvaro can't really set up for the wave, can't really try and play for some aggressive trades. I know Elyoya would love to try and trade Scuttle Crab for playing the bottom side. Elyoya has the upgraded smite though, so Skeens cleared so quickly he doesn't have that access. So Elyoya actually might have a bit of an advantage, as I say that, to steal away this crab.
Crab battle. MKOI are committing 4 members to this particular crab battle, and they're ahead. So they will win, even if the Scuttle Crab, River Shen, does dodge the Sonic Wave from Elyoya. And now we can see clearly MKOI wildly far ahead after that one. It doesn't matter. You're close, like, you're basically level 6.
Yeah, I think Elyoya kind of surprised that he didn't hit it, because I certainly am off of the clears, but still, like, he's going to move in, clear out his blue, immediately hit 6, basically hitting 6 at the same time as Skeens though, and SK not in a position to try and turn like the Scuttle Crab play for Dragon or anything like that, so it should just be again kind of a handshake of, we'll probably poke our nose in around this bottom lane, but not actually commit to anything too heavily.
Yep. Looks like Yappa and Mickey maybe just holding the wave as best they can. Hoping to time this perhaps with Skeens level 6, maybe some pressure bot lane to fight for Drake here. It's Wonder and Mirwen. Mirwen, this is, we're rapidly approaching the all-in window. When that ghost is off cooldown...
Ne bi smeo da možda gubi, ja mislim. Duše Wunder, moram priznam, jako interesantno što je rushao Phage, nije otišao na plate, mislim da je to malo grif.
Just now, SK are fighting to get mid push here, and the slow Q moving up instead of down. Nothing really SK can do about this.
Okay. SK have moved. That's what like
2K, 1K. Elyoya smite secured. Yeah, a little bit indecisive from SK. We saw the same thing in the previous game. There's some moments where it feels like they're a little bit uncertain if they want to go for the contest.
Yeah, it was very risky because you had push on bot lane for Yappa and Mickey. Level 6 being hit by Yappa as well. The only, I think, saving grace was that slow Q had actually moved in towards this top side. Ooh. As a nice deal from Elyoya, but damage.
Kick back. Looking good on the slow Q. Slow Q really just nowhere to go. Flashes over the wall. Instant double flash follow. He's gonna walk back.
Slow Q mrtav sigurno i to je first za Mirvina. Dobro.
Eventually falls. But first blood for Mirwen. I mean, the reset timer nicely there. And SK basically saying, hey, if they get Dragon, maybe we can try and look for something. But MKOI forgo the bot lane camps, immediately move up towards the top and defend well. And now Yappa on his lonesome underneath the tower. Has to be a bit careful.
It's an Ash. Only level 5 for Alvaro means he will be able to survive for now. Level 6 there just to interrupt the dive. His team at the very least is going to start picking up the grubbies. Surprise Elyoya not going to contest.
He's stepping up so far.
Okay. Credit to Yappa, like, again, this is one of the guys who's been getting a ton of praise on this team. And while we do get nervous anytime when anyone on SK steps forward like that, it's nice to see that sometimes they do survive.
Sometimes, yeah. As Jojo, stunned, but the Scout of the Week actually pushes him out of the double hit from Mickey. But I don't think it was going to be too much, especially since Slow Q didn't have the ultimate available. Yep. Still just would have been nice to try and poke the Silas out a little bit and try and open up on the map where maybe Slow Q gets a reset.
Slow Q nema kill, on ide na protobelt Merx, mislim ne bi trebao da možda ga ubije. Da Jojo zadnji put kad igrao Silasa to baš nije sjajno izgledalo.
Especially if they can start to get vision down and spot out where Skeens is. They want to make plays away from the Skarner, especially as this Lee Sin. If you go in and suddenly there's an impale there, it's not a fun time.
Yep. And Mickey and Young both have to be careful at stepping too far up. Amount of damage, immediate CC for this MKOI duo. A bit of a terrifying prospect to slow Q. So make sure he doesn't get caught out by the hook. The previous death a little bit unavoidable as MKOI committed just about every flash they had to find it. But now in the isolated 1v1, Jojo going all in, just takes him
Kako sam rekao da mu ne ide Silas, on dobio solo kill.
Just got wrecked.
huge from Jojo, the 1v1 kill. Alvaro basically a spectator to that one. And I doubted the matchup, but Jojo playing the Silas incredibly well and making slow Q hurt.
Yeah, and this is one of the struggles of the matchup is the Silas base damages are pretty solid. So just has a bit of MR to mitigate any chance that slow Q has about trading. The Kingslayer keeping him topped up as now we see an all-in the top lane. Mirwin, no flash, no ulti, no rage for Wonder. But he doesn't want to risk it because he doesn't know where Elyoya is, and there's furious pings indicating that he could be coming to the top side.
Yeah, no ward as well. Was already put into the bush, so wasn't able to just kind of hiss on to Mirwin as he went in towards the alcove. Still though, I think nice job from Wonder, right? Getting the ultimate out from Mirwin means that that all-in pressure not going to be there for at least well, I was going to say for a minute or so, but that is a very quick cooldown of the ultimate for the Olaf.
Yep.
So you know what? It'll be back for the wave that you want
whenever you want to go in again. Is Slowq continuing to poke? I think one of the big problems that we're going to see for SK Rob as we get later in this game is side lanes are going to be a wee bit tricky. Jojapune going to be scary on that side lane. Yeah. Going to be a bit scary on that side lane. Slowq is going to be one vulnerable mage, and it's not like anyone wants to play Ashe side lane either. Hook lands on the Mickey. Jojapune ready with the Abscond Duck. Nice combo coming through. Doesn't quite connect on the Slowq. Mickey drops down. An excellent pick from MKOI.
Ja sam napomenuo, očekujem 3 game ovdje.
We were saying, the version of MKOI that works the best is when Alvaro is able to start making moves, play around mid, and start constantly keeping the pressure up. Skeens was in the top half of the map and nowhere to protect Mickey, who is so vulnerable on this Seraphine.
That he is. Really no defensive item to speak of. Kindle Gem giving him a bit of stability, but Alvaro already some giant spells. Wants to be a tanky boy this time around, and really credit to MKOI's bottom lane, because early levels, kind of as expected for the Seraphine Ashe duo, they were getting pushed, they were getting prio. But MKOI didn't give up anything else, and now they've weathered that storm, come out beautifully. Supa's able to push waves back with the True Shot Barrage, and Alvaro actually able to get active on the map. Remember, it says 1 assist, but he did watch top lane or mid lane while his mid laner solo killed, which we count here.
Which is like the 1.1, but round down to.
Yes. We're a round down sort of league here. Is Yappa going to be in trouble? Supa landing a good bit of damage. Arrow connecting onto Supa. Some sidesteps are decent, but Elyoya moving in. Quick flash out from Yappa. Keeps him standing. Elyoya tries to get tricky with it. Does use his flash, but Yappa holding onto his for quite some time. 1 minion away from finishing the Cole, where the gold would be in his favor, but is forced to recall and pick up the Yuntal.
Nice cleanse from Supa to keep up the DPS as well, especially with the rest of MKOI in the vicinity. Knew that they could force SK back. So again, MKOI, solid, strong early game. This one way more consistent though, not giving anything really across the map, playing through their strengths. And SK are struggling to make this composition work.
That they are, Rob. I understand the power of the Ashe Seraphine, but lacking that playmaking. Both Skeens and Mickey, hard for them to kick things off by themselves. We haven't seen them link up. Look at the power of the J4.
Are MKOI just collapsing on top lane though?
Well, they're getting some plates, but they do lose the... Last time we saw a game like this, Rob, it was last game. And SK won that game. So I don't know how critical to be, but it's the second game in a row where we're seeing SK kind of just trade down.
Yeah. I'd like to see Skeens get a little bit more involved in things, because it does feel like he's kind of just full clearing, but yeah.
DP in, Yappa gonna be in trouble. Skeens is now involved in things. Ulti, double suppression. Yappa doesn't have damage to kill any of these people, and now it looks like Skeens is going to drop down. Slowq waiting over the wall. Nice scatter, but that Olaf is immune to CZ. Wonder on the side. Bounce House bringing down Mirwin. Yappa now allowed to unleash with a Hunter's Focus. But not nearly enough damage. Backstep on the hook is good. Now Yappa can finally step up and get active, but Jojapune is still there, right up in his face. Finding the kill. Wonder running for his life. MKOI slaughtering SK in the fight.
Wonder, oh, he super gets him.
Sidestep, double bounce, red buff.
Not quite. Wonder able to escape, but that was close to being a delayed ace for MKOI on the play. MKOI immediately jumping on towards his top side. And we talked about the potential for the collapse. Yappa and Mickey staying around too long. Elyoya is in the area. You already had Jojo on the move, and with the TP way quicker from the Olaf. And the Impale is basically getting nothing. Like, Yappa can't really turn in towards the fight. They get one, but it's as Skeens flashes away, Wonder only connecting onto one here because of nice backstep from Jojo. And it's a kick from Elyoya to follow up here that's really nice. Kicks Wonder into slow Q, which enables Super then with the arcane shift forward to finish off one. Wonder's just trying to run for the hills because he knows if he sticks around any longer, he's going to fall as well.
Oh, nice kick.
Agreed. Nice kick. You call it out. Jojo Pune agrees with you. SK getting dunked on. Yopa now in trouble. Nowhere to go. Another kick connecting. Elyoya is nasty with it.
Ja vam kažem, Lee Sinovi su počeli da igraju i to ozbiljno. I to baš ozbiljno.
Rapidly going from bad to worse. So slow Q now in trouble. Kingslayer not doing too much damage, but slow Q really just not able to survive on that side lane in isolation.
Mickey was trying to block the arcane shots, or the mystic shots even from Supa, but the sonic wave from the other side was what caught Yop out. Elyoya now moving up over towards this Rift Herald, and this, like, it's clinical. Like, SK are just falling completely apart, and it's MKOI keeping that rapid pace up. This is what we talked about at the start of this series. Like, SK, when the pace really starts to pick up, oftentimes start to fall behind, and this is a great example of it. Alvaro goes in here for the play. The mystic shots are blocked by Mickey, but it's Elyoya over the wall that that SK aren't expecting. They're able to catch out Supa, and Elyoya using that mobility to escape.
Yeah, and this is the kind of lead that's just so difficult to, or kind of deficit it's so hard to come back from, right? Wonder falling further and further behind in a matchup where he's really going to struggle anyway. Elyoya ahead on this big playmaker. Skeens has just not been active. One single kill, yeah, he has 100% kill participation, but 48 on the hard seal? That's maybe 2 procs, I'm guessing? 2 procs. Like, this is a composition that SK just haven't done anything. They've just been falling behind, losing.
And it's not like you don't have tools, right? You've got, like, double incredible utility.
Ne može Jopa, mislim ne može, ne bi trebao Jopa da igraš. Iskreno. Samo treba mu da mu daju nešto ima dash, da možda igra agresivno.
They haven't really been in position for dragons or to look for any sort of cross maps, and it's been Mickey who's actually been isolated on the plays that ends up giving some of these kills towards Alvaro in the early stages as well. So there just isn't that link up in between the jungle and support, and the Nautilus value is sky high.
Arrow though, gonna get dodged away from. Tough. Gotta fish, gotta look for it, but Yapa won't connect now. I mean, it's difficult because you look at what SK prioritized in the draft. Their first 3 picks, Syndra, Ashe, Seraphine, all kind of useless. Frustrating. And Syndra, justifying Syndra as a power pick, you don't need to justify it to me. It's a very strong champion. It could do so much work, but slow Q falling behind in the 1v1 has cost them so dearly. And Yapa and Mickey not being able to find good angles has been bad for them as well. Empowered Blast Cone. That's going to be ulti picked up.
Scream
ulti
damage
traded back. They're just charming each other, but Mickey's in trouble. Nowhere to go.
I mean, Syndra's in trouble as well. MKOI are here. SK going to be forced to back away. They don't even care about the dragon. They want the tier 2.
Fully focused as a red buff is being stolen right now from Mirwin. MKOI really doing whatever they would like in this exchange. Wave slowly being cleared by the side of SK. Jojo Pune dashing forward, does not connect on the abduct. Mount up though means he's caught in the midst of the team. Ulti there now, responded by Alvaro. Skeens continuing to barrel forward. Wonder off on the side. Rage stacked, but there's a Dragon's Rage ready to go for Elyoya. He can just kick him right out and into one more. Slow Q using a bit of HP. Shift backwards. SK get nothing.
And Olaf is in the mid lane. He's going to get some turret plates as well. So MKOI got the tower. They're going to get even more for the Olaf, plus the red buff, plus probably Dragon after this as well. And it all starts with Jojo just spotting out Mickey. Like, knew that ward was there, just didn't expect the Silas to be after it. And Slow Q just doesn't do damage to Jojo anymore. Jojo's so tanky, there is 0 that he can do. And MKOI, Arcane shifting into positions to just completely force the play. And yeah, SK, there's nothing they can do. This game's over for them.
This game is over.
Slažem se kolegi Kasteri. To sam rekao prošli game da će biti 1-1, mora da bude 1-1.
Than it is for MKOI to play out well. They're almost 2,000 gold lead in bot lane, 1.5k mid, 1,000 in jungle, 1,000 in top lane. Hell, even Alvaro, 600 additional gold. Yeah, back on track, I think many MKOI fans would say. A bit of an oopsie in that first game, a testament to what SK can do at their best, but
it feels a little A little rude to say that was the best from SK. Great team fight, but the rest of the game was a little ropey from SK.
I stand by my statement, Rob.
Okay, fair.
I think history. I think I will be remembered on the right side of the SK history with that statement, Rob. But we'll see. Maybe this is the beginning of another miraculous comeback. However, it's hard to see. So if they're at SK by time, scale, get items, that is a story. It's a story we tell a lot when teams are falling behind. And on the side of MKOI, well, you're at 3 out of 4 Drakes. You have a Silas and an Olaf who would be getting this Chemtech, which is foul. 2 of the best champions in the game with Chemtech getting Chemtech. Pretty gross.
Especially because JoJo's gotten this like tankier build, not the Rod of Ages obviously, but the Bloodletter's Curse turned him into essentially an AP, more of an AP bruiser, like with more health than traditional side, I suppose, let me see. And you get like, slow Q doesn't hurt him at all. Like there is nothing that this Syndra can do to get through the Silas. And you add Chemtech Soul on top of that, it's like, what the hell do you do when JoJo goes into a side lane?
I mean, what they're going to do is they're going to press Scatter. Then they're going to push Arrow, and they're going to push Ulti, or they'll wait for Supa to overextend. Cleanse, he gets pulled back anyway. 80 carry dying on midwave. TP in. SK hoping to turn the fight, but that is one very fast Olaf who did not auto.
Mislim da, ali ne, nije još ni zigza. Mislim da ima on dovoljno pikova koje može da igra. Najgori slučaj daj mu Korkija.
So I think it's just mid tower. I don't even think they get mid tower. Like JoJo's pushing inside. So slow Q has to cover. Yeah, they can't even get a tower off it.
Okay, so, well, we're gonna watch it again.
Oh, arcade shifting forward there is psychotic super. Yeah, okay, that's a...
They will say many things about Supa, but they will never say that he is not generous.
Yeah, he knew that was a bit of a silly move.
Bit of a silly Billy. But I understand it. You've been making a montage. You've been landing Qs. Sometimes you want to arcane shift forward.
He's had a good series.
He has had a good series.
Yeah.
Game 1.
Don't remember him for this. Remember him for the Kalista that was popping up.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. There's more series to be played. MKOI, they're going to need to win 2 games now. SK only need to win 1. Now, one of those games feels like it might already be over. Ah, Storm Surge. Okay, slow Q very committed never to killing Jojopune. I understand. Perhaps we get some Magic Pen after this, but it does mean that Supa will be very vulnerable to the burst damage of this Syndra.
There's good vision set up from MKOI. You can see, like, constantly basically covering, so then every time you try to move here, as Wonder, you're caught out.
They see the entire map, Rob. That's so many wards.
I know, yeah. Mate, I'm trying. Like, what am I? How many times can I just say MKOI are gonna win?
Jeste, Mate. Mislim, šta god samo da im daš. Kao toliko jednostavno, ali tako Jopa igra. Jopa igra najbolje kad može da bude agresivan. Kad ne može da bude agresivan, jednostavno ne može da sije kao igrač. Mislim, ne može da ih nosi na kraju dana, to je ono što je njima potrebno.
Flan. Yeah, let's talk about Flan. It's time. Have you noticed that every time MKOI are winning, we start going off topic? That's crazy. Anyway. Flan is delicious, though. I'm a sucker for a custard. And the many different countries' versions of flan. I feel like there's a lot of countries with some sort of
flan-related.
Creme caramel, basically flan, right? Am I wrong on that?
That actually, this could be the real dangerous topic, because suddenly we insult an entire cuisine.
Flan.
And look, as an Irishman, I'm not exactly like worried about my cuisine. We don't have we have like some things that we do well. We're not exactly renowned culinarily.
Oh, okay. That's fine. That's your culture. So we can bring this up. Irish desserts. I like how I started to type Irish and it just said rattling bar.
Cream, I suppose. Yeah.
Irish apple cake, Irish spice cake.
Yeah.
It took me straight to booze, Rob. I don't know.
Yeah.
Dang, Google. That's a microaggression. That's crazy. Anyway, SK did get an objective bounty back. We like to see this. And I think they're...
I to možda, da. On voli Kog'Maw Braum sa Zergboots Rushom, recimo Han sama. On je baš poznat po tome, tako da možda vidimo Kog'Mawa Brauma zajedno s Terminus Rushom, da. Ima ugla.
Hook there. Wonder on the chase. Skeens on the chase. Supa poking. Lots of damage. Alvaro has survived. Chemtech is there.
Super doing work as well here.
Oh, still chasing forward. Slow does connect. SK now retreating. Ulti connecting. I think they just start Baron. Nope.
I don't know if they have the health bar for us, yeah. So I think they actually... Oh, wait, Super!
Oh, Super! SK praying. Praying that Super goes too far! He does! That's 2 times in a row. That's rough. Chemtech Soul is secured, and it should have just cost the tower, but instead, now SK trying to up the pace of the game, running forward. Abscond already used by Jojapune. They just have to wait for the abduct to expire. No! Yapa just sidesteps it. Continuing to walk up. Stolen! No! Ultimate into the wall from Jojapune, but the knockback from Slow Q is just in time. Goes Golden. A freeze frame as he's about to slam down the chains, but it's a shutdown now. MKOI starting to fall apart. Elio pull back into the team! They're doing it again! How are they doing it again? Mirwin is CC immune, but he's not damage immune. SK! Find 4!
There's no world that this happens a second time. How in the hell? Like, you can see the frustration on Jojo's face there. That's insane that they keep getting caught.
Bro.
Neće da ukrade, neće.
It's not real. It's not. We're on a Truman Show-esque experiment. Please tell us now. This is unethical.
There's no world where you should get caught.
Why?
Like, you see the ward, you're standing on the bloody thing hitting it. And then Jojo overextends on the top lane afterwards. Like, honestly, great play here from, like, Yapa and Slow Q afterwards to, like, prevent Yapa from falling down. Because this is actually, with Yapa being that low, which kind of ends up baiting Mirwin into the back line. But it's one by one MKOI just walking in. And, like, Yapa does fall, but not before he gets the damage that he needs off, so they can kill off Mirwin.
They're famous for throwing games.
They certainly
Fair.
are after this one.
Fair.
My God.
I'm not allowed to say it, but it's so funny when he does. What are you doing, MKOI? Can they find the fight? Alvaro, the start of this fight not looking good, but Super for now completely untouched. Wonder waiting off the flank. The Chemtech Soul still there. Decent ulti Kingston's off from Mickey. Jojapune now finally getting involved, but they're already dying. SK! How? How?
Jojo don't get caught. He's gonna have the
Pa dobro, da, ali
something,
mislim,
but that's already 2 members, and Wondrous just takes them out to the side.
Ne
How
znam.
the hell are MKOI losing this again?
Ne možeš da računaš da su ti saigrači toliko loši da ne mogu da iznesu nakon što Lisi napravi toliko prešera. Još Alioja nije uzeo ni jedan kill. Savršeno je odigrao, bukvalno.
It was gigantic. It was a freaking avalanche, and SK stopped it and turned it on its head. Now they're marching down the mid lane, breaking open the inhibitor line. I thought I was flabbergasted in game 1, but we need a stronger word. Weird Oxford English people to describe the amount of surprise, shock.
I have a different F word that we could describe this game. Just Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Like, Alvaro gets caught, and everyone just, like, leaves it. Like, Mirwin doesn't want to go in. You've got, like, Super stunned on the backline. Jojo isn't here. Like, they are completely caught. Even, like, Elio, what was the hope there? Like, you go in and it's straight into the Skarner. Even if you get the kick, there's no people dying. At any point in that fight, was there a threat?
Oh, wow. I do not have a hard time not swearing in my job, but this game is really putting the pressure on. It's really tricky. I want you to remember back to like 10 minutes ago, dear audience, when we were talking about how like Chemtech Soul, oh my God, unlosable. We started talking about Irish desserts.
Oh,
Arrow? Okay. Close. Tier 2, about to fall. SK.
Mislim da ovo nije fight za njih. Silas Port iza do duše, možda navata nekog. Nije, ali pala je kula. No, oni su dunt. Možda nisu dunt. Da, jako dobar port od Silasa. Jojapune ih je opet istočalo.
But a mid lane inhibitor is exposed. There's a control ward there getting furiously pinged as well. Wonder at least makes his way out of the fight, but MKOI fight back. Bring it back a little bit.
A hero ward from MKOI. There was a pink in the brush, but you see it just doesn't quite get spotted out at the top of the, just here in the top left corner. And that's the one that you end up with a TP for Jojo Pyo, and it's a good engage as well as Wonder goes forward, which I think is the right call here. But it means you've got
Jako lepo od Jojoa, iskreno. Port iza njih, double char na dvojicu, savršeno, bukvalno.
Sets up for the play. MKOI finding what should have been the last couple of fights in this one.
This is such a scrappy game.
But this is the only way they win fights is getting these flanks.
So we have to see if they can do it again, because it's 20 seconds now until this Elder Dragon. No flash on Supa. Flash is starting to come up for...
Da, ovo baš ide na obe strane. Ali Jojo baš lepo igra. Jojo je stvarno predobar.
Loki has flash, but lost Seekers in the previous fight. Wonder has crested 1,500 kills. He only needed to get one in this series. He did it in game one, but credit to him. Weird series, so we haven't had time to properly celebrate him, but if he wins 2-0 here, there will be plenty of time. First top laner to have such an achievement. Scatter now used. Arrow goes in, connects onto Olaf. Not an ideal target. SK starting to back away.
Ajde vidimo.
Know that they're going to be forced to fight. Hook in onto enemy jungler.
3 loša ulta. Mirvin čeka da ulta. Čekali su da umre Alvaro. Sad će da run down na Jopu. Pogledaj Jopu. Ne može da igra. Sad samo Supa. Supa. Gnar uvio se da... I Kumu je dodžovo jako clean. I to je game, mislim da to game. Mislim da to game. Clean. I to je 2-0. Iskreno nisam očekivao. Nisam očekivao iskreno. Verovao sam da SK možda dobije seriju, ali sam mislio će biti bar 3 gejma. To jest bar 3 gejma. Mislio će bude 3 gejma.
How did he get here? How did he get here? I think, can we just replay that Yappa quote? That's what I just want. Again,
Iskreno clean, nema šta. Ekipa SK dolazi do pobjede koji se iskreno raspada. Mnogo mi je drago, jer kažem, ne želim da odu G2KC i koji. Navijam da neko drugi ode na Worlds, tako da vidit ćemo ko će to biti svakako. She's done leca. Bez preterano komplikacija, bilo kako bilo, pravimo malu pauzicu, pa ćemo kasnije se družimo na streamu. Patreon Game Net nas čeka, tako da ljudi moji, ja se nadam da ste uživali. Mi se vidimo malo kasnije na Patreon Game Netu.
Wow.
I don't know if Movistar Koi are making...
Well, I'm out of words, clearly. Rob might be too, so let's send it over to Jacques and Skeens. It's Wonder.
Sorry,
it's Wonder.
I changed it. Skeens is in PGL with Mickey and Wonder is with me. I had to after that performance. You guys are running out of words. I'm smiling ear to ear for SK. Incredible Wonder. Talk to me about specifically the last couple of fights in the last game being so far behind. It was crazy.
Yeah, we were really struggling this game, and it looked very, very unwinnable. But then they kind of trolled a little bit. They gave us like some good shutdowns. Their champions, like, I mean, I think their champions, they have to go in, right? And once we actually get like 3-4 items, we have enough damage to like hit whoever is running at us. Like if it's the Olaf, we can actually kill him. If it's the Silas, we can kill him. Like all of their champions are kind of, they don't synergize very well. I mean, they all run in, but like Lee Sin, if he messes up, he dies. Like Olaf, if he messes up, he dies. Same with Silas. So it's like hard for them to play, but I think, yeah, it was very unwinnable this game, but we managed to win anyways.
It was crazy. Did you, I mean, mentally, right? Even in game one, you found the picks when you needed to, and it's like you never lost hope because you knew what to do. Did that help, even being behind in game two, knowing like, well, they're probably going to be out of position at one point?
Yeah, I think they, I mean, they definitely, if they were playing very clean, the need of the game should have probably been very easy for us to win, but they ended up like, yeah, not being, I guess, like insecure in what to do, doing like the wrong thing or doing like different things. And so, yeah, I think even like Yoba this game was like joking about